right. Okay.
Good evening. Good evening.
How
We'll
we
start
doing?
with the fire proposals first tonight. Get you guys out of here.
Hang on.
I have a question about the service award.
The LoSAP?
Yeah. Well, Mark put it up to, or whoever worked on this, put it up to 47,881. Was that because you're expecting more young people to come in and the price go
No,
up?
you
or
should have gotten another copy. Did you get a second copy?
Second copy of,
The budget.
You're talking about your budget?
Your budget?
I got a copy of it, yeah.
Debbie sent that.
oh, okay. Did that change? Did that
Is
go
that
down?
still at 47 now?
It shows LoSAP at 47,881,
Okay, and I checked.
which is what Nancy said.
I checked with Kathy,
For
and she said that
2019.
it was 40,134, so it's probably gonna be 40,135, because we have no new.
Okay, that's what I was asking, because I know how it goes up with younger, and
Yeah.
he should be so lucky, right, to get an influx of.
We have one coming in, but he won't be eligible for,
Yes.
LoSAP for a year, correct?
Mark won't be.
And Liz came
for a
in.
year.
Yeah.
And Dan,
And there's no one.
But
no
they're
one
in
else.
already.
were they in
Yeah,
last year?
yeah, Dan
Yoda
Yoder.
and 50 points.
They're all
So
Yeah.
there must be
Yeah.
one, you must have one less on the service awards plan than last year, is that the deal?
No,
Unless
they're
they
the same.
retire, yeah.
They're the same, okay.
They're the same. We have a new fireman that just joined last meeting, but he won't qualify for LoSAP until a year from now,
Okay, so it's 4185 should be the number,
135.
135, thank you.
40.
And then I
40,000.
estimated at 42 for the next year because we don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's, and are the rates going up by any chance, do you?
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, the town takes care of that.
Yeah, we get that,
We don't get any information on that as far as rates, just on our,
we get a
We
bill,
have-
the town gets a
Yeah.
bill, yeah.
we have to
when you
supply
say
the
rates, you mean
attendance.
the rate of return on the investment?
There's a packet that the accountant needs to do to put in for the annual report as to what how much the fund is worth,
Mm-hmm.
but what the town pays is just the premium on it. So we don't
Right.
have an itemized thing, what each.
So the
member
premium
costs.
changes every year?
Right,
Okay.
and I don't know if the premium's gonna go up, if that makes, if we cut it that close, or maybe make it
I don't-
41,000 or something like that, just.
Here again, I'm not privileged
Right.
to the information, so I just don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. But we don't need the 47,881,
No.
okay. Because I noticed that big jump, that's what I was asking.
Any update on the cancer insurance coverage? Pardon?
And
Yeah. Cancer insurance.
Cancer coverage? I estimated 10
Okay.
at $300 a piece.
Okay, we still haven't gotten any confirmation of anything.
Well, we got information from Steve Son the other day. We're starting our physicals are this month, right? Oh, yeah. November. So,
It's the same as ours, it's almost the 12th or 13th, something like that.
Ours is, ours is Jill night, so it's later.
yeah, it's the end of November.
If I can cut a deal with the, I won't be, we're gonna be in Pennsylvania that week, if I can tag on yours.
Cancer
Sure.
insurance coverage.
I don't know if we have this,
Unless
you
that is,
basically
no,
do the same
no,
thing
that's
as you
the
do.
contract.
I'll find out who does yours,
Probably.
Access Health.
Access out.
I'll find out.
I think the same one does
I'm
yours.
not exactly sure.
But that's an estimate estimate of 10 farmers,
But yeah, you definitely.
and
yeah,
is it gonna be less, is it gonna be more? I don't know. I looked at the,
Thanks.
requirements last week. I was out of town last week, and I read through the requirements, and I looked at the things that you've gotta justify, and I know what I would answer. I don't know if Steve Son's gonna say, yes, that's the correct answer. This one qualifies. So it could be 5, it could be 8, it could be 10. So I guess I put down 10 thinking,
Yeah,
I don't think we've got more than 10.
Better to be conservative.
Worst case scenario is 10.
Yeah.
and it's what, 250 each?
At 300.
Said 300.
300, I'm sorry, okay.
Yeah.
So
So workers'
probably have
comp
to make
figure.
another line.
Steve did say he thought maybe it
Oh, I
would
got
come
an
down
answer
somewhere
from
between
controller
250 and
figure.
275, but he wasn't sure.
I don't even.
300 is the number I've heard.
Yeah,
Cancer, I wouldn't have any idea where to put that.
Well, you can
Probably
figure that out later.
90-60, like a health insurance line,
Yeah.
probably. So 90-60.
all I know is no matter where we are, they're gonna start writing policies in November. We have to have information to them by November 1st.
You mean next month, November?
10,000, you said, right?
No, 3,000. right?
3,000.
Or
10
3,000.
people at
Or
300.
3,000. Ooh. Yeah.
They're gonna make 90-60, SF.
Yep.
90-60.8.
If you have a B line, you could
So
put. it on
almost all
workman's
these
comp.
figures change.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Same thing.
Almost all these figures change. 5130.400 should be 550. Based on the budget that they've submitted.
Yeah.
That's what we've always had in our budget.
What was that, Chris?
You mean for the fuel, 500?
Yeah.
Well, the town pays for that, so,
Right.
and.
But
this-
that,
Yeah,
those are all things that the town takes care of.
right.
We originally, I say originally, back in 14, it was 250. We've been bringing it up. We brought it up last year to 400.
Right.
Yeah. And so far this year, we've used 221, unless there's
And
another one.
I just got one for September, which is
Yeah,
123.
so we're always a lag,
Yeah, so it's gonna be around 500.
around 5.
Should we go with
So
500?
that's
Yeah,
that'll be
fuel's going up.
350 that we're at right now, and we still have 3 months to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Then the service
I can tell you
awards
how much they use per
program
month.
should be
41.
135. Workers' comp should be 10,601.
Steve Son usually gives the workers'
I-
comp number.
Yeah. I extrapolated that to be like 11,470 for next year. Workman's comp.
Yeah, but did Steve, because,
So we'll go with your figure, Mark, because it's more conservative.
Yeah, because I had 13,250 when I finally got the paperwork from Kathy. Because currently this year it was 12,298.
I can't imagine it's going down.
No.
No,
I wouldn't have thought so.
so that's, I went up
Actually, I wrote that
$1,000.
question down.
Not unless you lost a lot of members.
Well, you show it at 10,601 for next year. This
I-
year's actual so far is 12,298.
12,298.
The
When-
problem with this area, Chris, is that I don't know until final, sometimes I don't know at all.
Yeah.
The things like workman's comp, LoSAP,
Mm-hmm.
No, but you must have a reason for going down.
I think
I'm
Mark.
saying I changed it to 13,250. I did
Oh,
that
That's
when
not
I
on
met with
this.
Kathy 2 days ago.
That's not on this.
It's not on there because I didn't have the figures.
Yeah, Steve
Okay.
Son,
And it's all subject to audit anyway.
right. Right, Steve Son does, when we get the perma bill,
Mhm.
it goes da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and then at the bottom it says volunteer fire department. So it isn't even like we have to do a whole lot of figuring as to what the volunteer
Right.
fire department rate is.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Well, I'm just concerned that we get as close as we can in the budget, that's all.
Right, right.
So what are we going with for
Do you,
number?
Mark, do you remember what the rest of the, of workers' comp went up? a percentage?
Yeah.
Cause usually it follows.
I don't remember, but I think I have it documented.
You know, on the average, it's like
You notice it
250
says
bucks.
estimated cost because I have no idea.
No. Steve is pretty good with
So,
that.
okay.
He gives-
Oh, yeah.
So from 17 to 18, it went up 1,000.
Yeah.
And Kathy Hochu's going around,
And 16 to 17,
counting
it went up
the
800.
workers' comp decrease.
Playing that odds, it's gonna go up 1,200.
Okay.
That would be
On this, it
13.5.
says the 11,474, which is what,
Well, that's
that's for this year,
for this year.
right? So,
But bill to date was already over 12,000.
right, because that's what we paid from last year, but we might have also got, I'm trying to think how that would work. I don't work in my running bill. But we don't have an amount of how much workers' comp in general is going up. Usually he'll come in and say it's going up 2%, or it's going up, you know.
There is a number if I can find it here.
And the way it looks to me, workman's comp is, billed in January.
Right.
Yeah.
And at that point, for
Mhm.
1/23/18, they billed
We're at
12,298.
350 right now, and then,
Right.
you know, $75, $80 a month.
And that was what was budgeted because Steve told us what it was gonna be this time of year,
That's the least of our worries.
so,
And then the previous year was 11,226.
yeah.
So you're saying that before we adopt the budget, we will have a firm number for this?
Well, Steve would be the one to find out, you know, cause usually he gives,
I'll call him. See if he.
You should
has-
submit it like 90 days before, I think.
Normally, we would,
well, I think he submits it when he gets it, it's just like the health insurance, you know.
Somewhere I have that number, the percentage of increase. I don't know, it was
But Steve would,
4.6 or,
something evil like that,
so, yeah.
so we
And
can,
who's Steve?
Steve Song,
Steve?
Steve Song, he's the insurance,
I'm
Manners
insurance.
insurance,
Oh,
and he
okay.
takes care of our perma and,
I'll give him a call in the morning.
so we figure. it's
Either way,
already-
we really don't have a much choice with that number.
No,
Whatever that number is what that
Well,
number
we
is.
just need to plug in the right number, that's all.
Right.
Right,
That
right,
makes
I
it
agree.
plug in enough.
Yeah, you
so
don't wanna
that can
go,
get plugged in, I mean, we don't have to, if we don't know it now, we don't know it, so,
right, that's what I'm saying. It's-
yeah.
I had a question, Ernie, on, under operations in your budget. Public use of building, $750.
You gotta find out where you are.
I'm on page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 lines up from the bottom.
Public use of building. That's for cleaning and things that we do, like like the county. The county comes in and uses the building quite often,
Yeah,
and if we have to do something to clean up, to take care of the building, when you come in for voting.
you pay somebody to come in and do it, you
Well,
say?
or if there's some repair that needs to be done, we just have money that we put aside so that we can take care of that. Being nonprofit, we don't charge for use of the building, but we have to repair whatever's broken. Sometimes people are, more than happy to say, oh yeah, we'll pay for that. Other times they're not.
Okay.
So, and we have a guy that, does the floor,
Does what?
does the floor.
Oh, the
So
floor.
all of the equipment and all of the material that he uses to, scrub down the floor and wax it again,
Mm-hmm,
that comes under there.
okay.
Seems
I'm
like a
just curious.
reasonable amount.
Oh, yeah. I just didn't know what it was for.
Yeah.
Can you explain good and welfare? Ernie?
Good and welfare. You wanna explain good and welfare, or you want me to? I can.
No, that's fine. Good and welfare is just a line that if, one of our firemen, a close family are going through a tough time, we may, give them gas mileage to go to the hospital or things like that. Just,
Essentially a benevolent.
to help them out, a benevolence form of line.
In-house,
Right, we have
taking
one,
care of our own.
we have one too, so.
How about $500 for donations?
On the second page?
First page.
First page under operations. The
Oh.
5013C,
Donations that we give.
Right.
yes,
that-
but as a 5013C, is that kosher to give donations?
To give a donation?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
One year, we bought T-shirts for the kids at school for fire prevention week, and we went in with, Spectator Fire Department, we both paid half the cost. That would be a donation.
Can we go to the actual contract now, rather than figures? Yeah, I have some questions, I don't understand all this.
Could I ask a couple more questions on the numbers?
Oh, sure.
You guys got a large grant, 2017?
We got a
Large grant, like $5,000 or?
We got $4,500 from Senator Didisco's office, yes. That was used primarily to bring us up to the standard of the high band operations that the county went through. And we applied that money to, let's see, the repeater for our fire ground frequency.
I see you got quite a bit of cash accumulated,
Yeah?
and you
What do
bought,
you mean, quite a bit of cash?
well, I'm just, about $300,000 in
We
cash and investments.
We have $300,000 in cash and investments?
Yep.
Where?
I don't know where it is, but it's on the 9/90/2017. It's filed with the IRS.
At this particular point, we have, I don't know. We have a Schwab account where we keep the money for
I
our
got those, Chris.
truck fund,
No, which means.
our equipment fund, and our emergency savings fund, which we've been doing.
Yeah, which leads me into the next question. You have, I think it was 30,000 a year go into a reserve, fire truck reserve
That's correct.
that you put away, right? But you incurred a lot of debt in 2017.
We incurred a lot of debt in 2017. The new fire truck,
Yeah, it was close to 200,000.
we bought, I don't know, now, let's see, the truck cost $282,000 and the equipment cost somewhere around $50,000. And of that, we got $20,000 from USDA. USDA. Department of Agriculture? Yeah. And we pay $30,000 a year on that truck, which is in our budget.
How many years is that gonna be?
It's 15 years, we wanna pay it off in 10 if possible. To pay it off in 15 years is ridiculous.
450,000.
Well, it's the
I'm just
best
saying.
interest rate we could get, which was 2 3/4%.
But that'd be 450,000 over 15 years.
I would have
30,000,
to look at the
30,000,
paperwork, Mark, I don't know.
well, 30,000 a year times 15. It's 450,000.
If we went 15 years. I think the way I have it figured right now, we're hoping that we'll pay that off in 10 years, which would be $300,000.
That was for a new pumper, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And the revenue with the reserve fund that we put $30,000 in, that is to go for the next truck. We're putting in $30,000 a year, so that at the end of 10 years, hopefully we'll have $300,000. In 10 years, our frontline pumper will be 30 years old. And at 30 years old, for the most part, finding parts for it, not for the chassis, but for the pump itself, is almost impossible.
Okay.
That's what we ran into with the Chevy that we just got rid of. It just doesn't exist. So, putting in $300,000, we won't have to borrow as much when we get to that point, because probably the $280,000 truck, without the equipment, purchased in 2017, will probably cost more like $350,000 by the time we get to
Probably more.
Yeah.
Right.
2027. Hopefully, I won't even have to worry about how much it'll cost.
Just like what we're doing with Randy's
Yeah.
equipment.
What does the department have for an engine? How old is that truck?
Which one?
You have engines, fire engines?
Yes.
Well, the tanker would be considered an engine, but our main engine is a 99.
99.
I need you to be louder.
Our main engine is a 99. Our first attack truck.
What's the life expectancy on something like that?
Until they say they can't get parts, we
Yeah.
never know when it's gonna come.
Standard is usually 20 years or less.
Oh, so there you go.
You don't go by like miles or hours or something? Nope. I remember back in the 90s, you had to get a new truck because some kind of rule about the men had to ride in an enclosed cab.
That wasn't us. Speculative.
Speculative.
It was like 97 that Clinton got something. What else do you have in the way of farm trucks? I don't know.
More than willing to give you a tour.
Yeah.
We have frontline pumper,
Inline pumper?
frontline,
Front line.
which is our #1 pumper.
Oh, that's the
When it
new,
goes-
the new one you just got?
No, that's the
Oh, that's the
1999.
99.
When there's a fire call, that's the first truck that goes. We have a tanker. And here again, information I don't have at the tip of my fingers, but that one, 10 years old.
It's a 2004, isn't
That's what I was gonna say.
So 15.
So it's older than I
it?
thought.
2004.
3,000 gallons, right? Or 3,500.
2,500.
2,500. We have a rescue truck, which contains all of the equipment that our interior firefighters need, and the ability to fill tanks on scene, so that if they need more air tanks, they can be filled. And we have the new pumper, which would go in line, because everything, we don't have hydrants, therefore we have to pump from dry hydrants. And those are the things sticking out of the ground, like at the bridge in Lake Pleasant. And it would go in line, for instance, if there was a fire at the courthouse, God forbid, that truck would be in the line somewhere and help push the water up.
Okay.
In that particular case, probably Speculator would come in and be the one that does that, and we would have 2 trucks up at scene.
So you can like pump with one truck to another truck to another
Yes.
truck?
Yep.
Okay.
Because you can only pump so far.
Even with
Then you need a
trucks?
booster
Doing it?
to keep boosting the pressure up.
Okay.
So
Volume.
there'd be one truck at the bridge, there'd be one truck halfway up and one truck at the fire. Paseco would come, something like that would be an all-come, everybody would just
Yep,
get in
got
the
it.
truck and ride. Right, because we need everybody on that.
So that's the big stuff, Ernie?
Is that
basically.
anything else? Oh, and we have a
Water-
mini pumper.
Water supply.
Mini pumper?
Yeah, a mini pumper, and that's for water supply. Because we have no hydrants, the mini pumper goes to the dry hydrant and it fills the tanker. So that the tanker can take water to the pumper and they dump that water into a pond, a portable pond.
Okay.
Besides, there's several driveways that you can't get a pumper down
Right.
around the lake.
Especially around Echo Lake.
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah, pillars. I know that the county's going to all new radio stuff. Are you guys gonna be on the hook to pay for upgrading your radio equipment?
Yes, we already are.
In the process.
One of the things that we did this year, we went to USDA and got what is called a loan grant.
Mm-hmm.
Loan grant says that we put out X amount of dollars, which in our particular case was $20,000. They gave us a grant for a little over $20,000, and then we borrow $40,000. With that money, we bought turnout gear for all the firemen in the department because our turnout gear currently is 15 years old. Current recommendation is you don't keep it any longer than 10 years, but from this point on, we're going to have a replacement program where we put a certain number of turnout gear in the mix, like every 5 years, we're gonna replace them. Andy's a entry team member. He'll have 2 sets of gear because his gear needs to be washed and laundered after every fire.
It's not good.
He's so
trust
dapper.
me.
And also, along with Senator Tedesco's money and the money that's left from the grant loan, we bought pagers. They haven't come yet because we're still waiting on the county to determine what frequency is gonna be utilized, where PL codes are gonna be, and the tone frequencies. Once they're established, then we can have those programmed. And all of our old pagers, which are on 4516, and if I'm talking out of your realm, it's a low band frequency. It's the one that everybody in the world in Hamilton County speaks on. That will end. We'll go to a high band frequency, and that high band frequency, that's where we're going to be paged by the CAD system, which is in the sheriff's office, or in the jail, excuse me, which is a computer-assisted dispatch. So we had to get all branded pagers as well. We have been able, through different activities, to try and get enough radios in the trucks, so we have high-band radios in the trucks now, to go along with the low-band radios, which we will keep in the trucks because my understanding is that the town and county would still be using low-band. And there are
So
times.
far.
There are times you might
Haven't
need to
changed
speak
that
to
yet.
Randy.
You're gonna change that?
No, they're talking about it because you can't, right now you can't buy the low band radios.
Yeah,
So they're phasing them out one way or the other.
okay.
It's what they're doing.
But in the interim, if it's 20 below zero and there's ice all over the road where you've shot water,
They
we
wanna
need
get
to
ahold of
talk
me.
to the town.
Right, right.
And they come and they put the sand down and then we can survive.
And some of the members are town employees, it might be handy for them to hear that you're getting toned out.
In answer to your question, Mark, I don't know, that's from our 990. That's what existed when we did our taxes. You have to remember, in February, we get half of the money of our contract amount. So the amount in our cash, in our general fund, is high at that particular point when we're doing our taxes. We get the second half in July. It's high right now, but we hadn't put any money in our reserves back in April. We're putting money in our reserves now. We're making our truck payment now. We're doing all of those things now. We do have a Schwab account, and that's I don't think it's 217 currently, but it could be. I think it's less than that, because we have to come up with money to pay our portion of the loan grant.
Right.
All right, but that's money that we've already put away, because, first of all, $60,000 we put away in 2018 or in 2017, in 2018. We also had some money in there, in the truck reserve and in the equipment reserve. So we're building on that all the time.
See, I'd
Like I
love to
said-
see those figures. That gives us a much better idea of what we need to do.
Right.
I'm sorry, Chris, I don't
I
understand.
said, that's why I asked for a financial statement, because it gives us a much better idea of what we have to do to support the fire department, instead of just kind of like feeling our way in the dark, you know?
I didn't know anything about financial statement. While I was gone last week, Andy said that there was a request for some receipts or something. I wasn't here. I didn't get back until Thursday, and from that point on, Nancy had some medical stuff we had to take care of. This is my week. If I don't live at the fire hall, we're all volunteers. If I've got to know long before that in order to get figures together. The 990 I could have sent you. If you
You
said I
don't
need the
have a
990.
financial statement?
A financial statement, yeah, we make out financial statements.
Yeah, but I mean, you said you have to get figures together in order to, I mean, you should have,
I know. Jane was gone for a week, and Jane helps me with the books to a certain degree, and I wasn't here. I can't do what I'm not here to do.
okay, I guess I'm not making myself clear.
Could you get it in a week?
Can I get it in a week? A financial statement?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably,
There you go.
Okay.
Does that work?
Yeah.
but it's gonna be an end of the year. And it's gonna include everything that's in the 990.
Yeah, that's, whatever. I mean, I have never seen a financial statement for the fire department. And when I asked for ones from previous years, I was told that town doesn't have any on file. And has
We
never,
don't have to give
hasn't
a
it?
financial statement.
well, you do now.
We're exempt from that law.
No, you're not.
Yes, we are.
I called to Disco's office to make sure that I was
I
interpreting
looked
it
at the law
correctly.
itself, it says
And I did too.
a fire company that's in its own fire district, headquartered in its own fire district, does not have to comply with financial requirements.
Well, why wouldn't you want to?
Well,
Why
that too,
would we
yeah.
have to? I mean, we're a volunteer fire department, we're there as a community service, we're not making money on this. If somebody is, well, it's a secret for me. I
There's
kind of don't
no,
understand the
I don't
process.
there's no accusations.
No, but I don't understand the process. We're submitting to you a contract of what it costs us to operate the fire department. And it's as though there's a lack of trust or something here.
This doesn't have anything to do with lack of trust, John. It's just, we have a fiduciary responsibility to the taxpayers to know what we're doing. And ask Randy, I'm a pain in the ass when it comes to getting information. And I just feel like if we're gonna allocate tax money for anything, we need to know all the information. It has nothing to do with do we trust the firemen or not.
It seems to me that there's a bit of
So I'm
something.
sorry you feel that way, because you're taking it personally now. And it's not a personal thing, it's just that we have a responsibility to the taxpayers to know what the hell we're doing.
Let me look at it from another point of view. How many other vendors do you have? And do you get a financial statement from any of those? I dare say not.
We have no vendors that tell us we want 159,000 plus every year and just hand it over on good faith. You know what I mean?
No, you buy expensive trucks from people, you buy fuel from different people, you contract out different services like this health center to Nathan Tour. They're all, I would consider a vendor of the sort, but do you get a financial statement from any of them as to,
Well, we do from the primary care center, right?
this is what it
That's
costs
what-
to do business with us, and that's what you got. I'm not saying that but it seems like there's an attitude with the fire department that you don't have with your other vendors.
I'm sorry,
And I've never,
there's an attitude,
in my
why?
time at the fire department, I've never seen this kind of questioning.
No, I understand that. And I'm appalled, because I think that the town boards in the past have not been as responsible as they're supposed to be.
In the past, Chris, the town board met with the fire department, the committee, the fire committee, met with the fire department long before this.
And never asked for a financial statement. which is kind of like the most basic thing in the world.
Okay. But if you're talking about a financial statement similar to the one that we give to USDA, that's in the end of the year.
I don't know what you give them, so.
It's a financial statement. It's
An
a
end of
government
year,
financial
an
statement.
end of year statement is fine, I mean, it just gives us something to look at and, you know, understand what's going on.
Okay, well, I'm trying to understand what you're looking for. Because if you want the 990, I can
have the
send you the
990.
990.
I have the 990.
It's
That's
online.
public knowledge, I got it online.
I know.
And the other stuff is,
So other than
really
the
not that
990,
important,
you
other
look
than
at-
the financial statement, which would be a statement that, help me out here, you run a business, I don't.
Breaks down the cost so you can, so we can better understand
Well, that's my point, yeah, but,
as we get questioned.
and I understand, yes, you've got a budget here, and, you know, it looks like a reasonable budget as far as I can tell. But a financial statement would give us more information. You know,
Correct.
so you have to file a financial statement, do you not, with, under the not-for-profit corporations law?
It was the 990.
But
So that is the 990. which
it's
you
the
have to
990, that's what you have to file.
So you're saying a financial statement such as, you know, you do at the end of the year would be no different than what you filed with the IRS?
That's what you build the 990 from.
I don't know, I just, I guess I'm dumb because I don't
No, I'm trying
understand.
to understand what you want. And
And apparently I don't exactly know.
I think if I'm reading between the lines, she's looking for a profit and loss statement and a balance sheet.
Okay, I don't know the correct terminology. Thank you.
Well, I think that's what they're looking for,
Well, that sounds good.
but that's the 990.
which contains those forms. Yeah.
It contains everything.
Yeah.
Because we have to, that's one of the main things we have to do, other than accounting the Warren Fire Fund to the state controller's office. That's the other thing that we do.
It's what to the state controls?
Okay, Foreign Fire Fund. We get money from
Oh,
the Foreign
yeah.
Fire Fund. We have to send a report to the,
That's not a lot of money though, is it?
I think it was $3,000 this year.
Yeah, it's not that big a deal.
But I'm going back 3 years ago. We met with the committee and we went through all of this on numerous occasions. Randy was at all the meetings. And everything they asked for, we went through everything, I thought, and told them exactly what we were doing and what we were looking for. We were only looking for the necessity of planning for the future.
Mhm.
All right, all I'm saying now is, look, in order to continue to plan for the future, we still need to have that amount of money for the next 2 years. We didn't ask for more. The only additional money that was here was the cancer plan, which I have no control over. That was the
Right.
present from the governor.
You know, I understand you're only asking for
Right.
500 more, so that,
And three years ago on that statement was the contract was gonna go up because we, quote unquote, were lacking behind and they were losing ground, on trucks,
On replacement.
on replacements. And we agreed with the committee and them that we gotta look for later on.
mhm.
If it costs us, like, you know, what I set up with the town, it's gonna cost us more and more and more every year, so we bumped it up. Now, them bringing up another $500 to me is a very minor amount.
Oh,
I
yeah.
understand you want, you know, to see where
I'm
this is
not
all going.
quibbling about the amount of money they're
Right,
asking
right,
for.
you're asking for transparency part of it.
Exactly. You know me, that's,
Right, and, that's, they came up with this number, and at the time, I had more sheets in front of me where that money was going, and that $30,000 and so on and so forth, but that was 3 years ago, and,
well, I thought this meeting was where we would get all that information. So,
Well, I got the letter from Dan, and I supplied everything that Dan asked for.
I know that, that was.
And it said in the bottom of the letter that we were gonna have several, he anticipated several meetings before we
This.
got to this point. We haven't had any meetings. So the opportunity to have someone say, well, gee, and could you get us that?
Mhm.
You know, takes time. But I think the things that you're asking for are in the 990. It tells what our building's worth, it tells what our trucks are worth, it tells all the assets and liabilities that we have.
It's just not
Well,
itemized.
like for instance, other expenses, 96,000. The other expenses doesn't tell me anything.
Wait a minute, you gotta tell me where you are, because I can't respond if I don't know where you are.
Right, I'm on the first page of the 990.
I
Line
don't
se-
have a 990 in my hand.
I gave you a copy.
Okay, where am I looking at?
Line 17,
Accounts payable and accrued expenses?
are you looking at the cover?
I'm looking at the front page. Of what
Which,
you
yeah,
gave me.
it's stapled wrong.
That's the.
Go to the second page, line 17.
Last page?
Okay, sorry.
Other expenses.
This is done by an accountant. It's not done by Ernie Virgil because I don't wanna go to jail for it.
It's done by Hamilton County?
No, it's done by an accountant.
An accountant,
We
okay.
hire an accountant to do our 990.
Okay,
He takes all of our information and transfers it to this document,
well, that makes sense.
because I don't wanna go to jail for doing something incorrect. Or to be accused of doing something incorrect.
But do you see what I mean when I say other expense? That doesn't tell me anything?
I think
You're
what
gonna
it-
have to give me a minute to look at it, because I didn't bring a 990.
well, you don't need the 990, you need a working paper, is what you need.
Yeah. And that's part of the whole packet. In the back of the packet are all the worksheets, I believe.
Yeah,
Bob, you've
it's
got
got like
experience
60
with 990s,
pages.
they're all in the
Yeah,
back,
I do.
right? I believe they're all in the back of the 990 itself.
Okay, well,
The 60 pages are online,
oh yeah, it's all
Yeah.
online.
so that information should be broken down there for us to look at, I would think.
Yeah.
Well, it's not, there's no detail.
Even on the 60 pages?
Well, a lot of it is yes, no questions.
Yeah,
A lot of it's general.
a lot of the questions don't apply to this fire department, so they're just blanks.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So Ernie, would it be the accountant then that also does the financial statement? Or the profit and loss, you said? Is that what it is?
Well, I think that's what you're asking for. I don't know if he does it or it's not done at all.
Meaning he's not here.
During the year.
He has a camp up on top of Page Hill, and he's gone.
But is that who does them?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
okay.
can't even remember his name.
J&M's Enterprise Ltd.
I'm sorry?
They're in Carmel, New York. Is that who it is?
Who could be?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what it says on the form.
He's got a camp right on top of the hill.
Ernie. Just the letter that we were referring to that said that we would have multiple meetings to discuss this.
We'll be
Yeah,
having
we-
subsequent discussions regarding the LPV contract request.
Yeah.
Subsequent discussions, I assume were meetings with the fire department committee, because that's what we've always done in the past.
One thing I've noticed since joining the board, and this might be something you might be interested in when we do the organizational meeting in January, is committees are appointed, but chairmen are not appointed. So I assumed that that meant that the person with the most seniority was the chairman. And in this case, that would have been Mike.
Mhm.
And I waited for a long time for a committee meeting to be called before I realized nobody's gonna call committee meetings.
And honestly, we've been waiting for a committee meeting. We assumed somebody was gonna call it.
So I'm wondering if, I don't know if law allows you to appoint a chairman for each committee too. I'll have to check that.
I think Dan is actually the chairman of all the committees.
Is the de facto chairman, is
By
that
default.
how it is?
By default.
I think so.
I'll have to check that because, like I said, I thought it would be the ranking member of the committee would be the chairman, like automatically, and that would be the person that would be calling the meetings. And the meeting this morning was the first committee meeting I've been in this year. I'm sorry, Andy?
That would be 3 of the board members, so that your meetings would all have to be published.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Although, I don't think anybody will come.
No, but.
Nobody came to this morning.
Yeah.
All right,
I think we should keep it as is, and if Chris needs more information, just wait, for that information. I don't know what else we can do hashing it right now.
Well, okay. Keeping it as is. The town board can't change our budget.
no.
No, not change your budget, change,
Oh,
I'm,
I
if
misunderstood
we're
you then.
looking, I'm sorry, if we're looking at the contract
Mhm.
amount, that's the only part we're discussing now, I would guess.
Yeah.
So, if that's the case, if we just keep going round and round, we're not gonna get anywhere
Right.
this evening, so perhaps wait and get further
And we're
information.
not gonna adopt this tonight anyway, so.
No, the budget doesn't get adopted until November, or
Right.
whatever it is, 19th, I think, so.
I'd feel more comfortable that way, I really would.
get, if you don't mind providing, I still am not quite sure what, but.
I need to know too, because I know the 990, which I don't have. Jesus, I know where I have it.
Right, and probably a 501c3 wouldn't be called a profit and loss. 'cause,
What that accounts
You're
for.
supposed to make a profit.
You know, all the expenses we have on our budget.
Maybe what I'm thinking of is an annual report.
Well, the 96,877, like I was just telling Bob, those are all the expenses that we had in our budget. Now,
96,
I'll say this,
Thought it was off the 990.
these are all estimates, this is the best guesstimate we can make
Budget.
of what it's gonna be. It's a budget,
It's a figure.
all right?
You know,
For instance,
Oh, the other expenses.
one of the items we have on our budget is truck maintenance. And we have $9,000 from truck maintenance. We have someone from a company called Bulldog, who does all of our water tests, all of our pump tests, all of our truck maintenance. I think Speculator uses them as well. And they charge us $9,000 to drive from Albany to come and work on the trucks. All right, well, that's a great figure. $9,000, I wish it was always $9,000, it never
Nothing
is.
goes wrong.
Yeah, then you blow a turbo on the mini pumper and that's a $3,500 item. Then your rescue rig, for some reason, the battery compartment falls apart and all the wires going to it rot. And that turned out to be a $6,700. So in that category alone, we're gonna be spending $10,200. All right? We're still paying the $9,000 to have all the trucks serviced, but we have $10,000 more of expense on top of that we did not plan on. So, do we have money in there that we can move around in order to make those payments? Yeah. And hopefully we have enough. Any money that we have extra, if we have surplus, that goes into our revenue funds, into our reserve funds, so that hopefully it isn't gonna take us 10 years to get enough money to buy another truck. It'll be more like 8 years or 9 years. And that's what we're trying to do, which I assume Randy does the same thing.
Trying.
You try and do the best you can with what you've got.
Yeah, we're coming from behind.
Like they are.
Yeah, I know.
Do you anticipate any more grants for next year?
Do I anticipate?
I misspoke. I said $5,000 grant, it was $50,000 last year.
Okay. Senator Tedesco's office sent us a note. He said, we got you a facilities grant for $50,000 to improve your building. All right? Our building is 25 years old, believe it or not.
Wow.
Turned 25 this year. And we're looking at new roof and new flooring, okay? We haven't even applied for that facilities grant because we don't even know what we would do with it were we to get it. And all the information that we have to even apply for it, we don't have it amassed yet.
We have to get a plan before we can apply for it. We
Why
have
would
to,
it be included in revenue for last year, though?
Because we didn't get it. We haven't gotten anything.
Well, according to the 990, it looks like you received $50,000 in revenue.
It's probably a receivable.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm just
It doesn't
guessing.
say, it doesn't say that.
That
There is
wasn't
no
last-
accounts receivable on the books.
last year.
That wasn't last year.
2017.
No. We had $20,000 on the new truck from USDA.
Yeah, we're trying to think what $50,000 we got last year.
I don't know.
Can that be the mistake?
Yeah, I've got the whole 55-page form right here.
Just picked it
Well,
up.
we didn't get our facilities grant, we have not gotten any money. Probably would not get any money until late in 2019, if we get it. How long did it take you, about a year?
Oh, yeah.
At least.
What are you saying for 17, Mark?
Yeah.
2017, total revenue for the year, $232,294,
Well, and
of which of that is
Yes.
$50,000 in grants.
Well,
Could that be that loan, grant loan?
but
or
we
is
got
that-
$20,000 from them. I don't know who we got $30,000 from. I guess I've been so busy with this year, I don't remember what happened last year. Because we go on to the next.
Why, I understand.
That-
Which prompted the question, are you expecting another $50,000 grant?
No, at this particular point, no. Unless we can come up with a
But
facilities
it now
plan.
concerns me that you don't think you've received those funds, even though it's counted as revenue on
No,
the.
I'm telling you that right now, I'm sitting here and you're hitting me with something that I didn't have a chance to review. Since I didn't have a chance to review it, I don't have an answer for you. There's gotta be an answer there.
Right.
I just don't have it on the top of my head.
Well, 50 grand's a big number, so.
I know, and $20,000 I can guarantee was for our truck.
Yeah, and it could be a couple of grants, cause
Yeah,
it
because,
doesn't say
I don't
each
know.
one itemized, it just
I don't
says
know.
a clump,
I don't know.
looking over your shoulder here.
Yeah, so you're not expecting any,
I know the only thing we
Extraneous
got from
revenue for
Tedesco
the
was $4,500 and he gave that to the Lake Pleasant Lake Fire Department.
Okay.
I don't know where that is.
Just that facility one, if we can come up with a reasonable plan, yes, we might get that, but,
But that would be 2019.
right, that would be 19.
And
I'm sorry.
And it
I
wouldn't
did
show
not-
on the 990 until 2020.
I'm seriously thinking, trying to think
Well, you don't get a grant until you get it.
right,
of, right.
yeah, which prompts the question, why is it treated as revenue for 2017?
It isn't treated as a revenue
On
for
the
2017.
No, not
On the
that.
990.
No, not that. It can't be that. Because we got 20,000, well, listen to me, and I'll explain it. We got $20,000 from USDA. That I can tell you, I know we got that. That's 20,000 of that $50,000.
No, that would have
20.
been, that would have been 18.
Well, it was last year because that's when we got it. That's when we signed the closeout papers because then it would appear on our 2017 tax return. The balance of it, I've got to look. I got to look.
Okay.
I don't know who gave us money.
I think at FEMA.
Not off the top of
Would
my head.
Nozomi Williams go in there? I know she doesn't Nozomi Williams, I know she doesn't give
Oh, yeah, it's not that much.
50,000, no, but, you know.
It's like 3,500.
Yeah, it's usually up.
And that's, even with contributions, with gifts and contributions, it all depends on what goes on during the year. Some years we get maybe $3,000 in gifts or contributions. Other years, depending on if a fireman passes away and somebody says, I want all the donations to go to the fire department, then we get more. And that fluctuates. But I never know how much that is or what the total is. That would be something that the accountant takes care of when he prepares the 990.
Well, Randy, since Mike is not here tonight and he's the other member of the committee, I'm wondering if it's possible for Mark, Randy, and I guess you, Ernie, are you the fire department's treasurer?
I'm the treasurer.
Okay, so I guess it would be you. And I'd like to sit in if possible, but could a meeting be arranged or is it too late in the process?
Okay. You gotta tell me what you want, because all I'm hearing right now is Mark wants to know where that $50,000 came from. I think I can get that information very easily. I don't have it at my fingertips right now. And it's not facilities grant. We have not received that.
Right, it's not that.
And just because he says we've got it, doesn't mean we've got it.
Well, it's something worth looking into, and then at the same time, I can look into the actual
What?
workman's comp figures, and then we can just take care of this and
All right.
But either way, the answer to your question is no, they're not expecting that again next year.
What?
That's
I
the,
heard that.
yeah, that's the end
I
of the
can look at
line.
the 990.
That's, that was the real question.
That was the real question.
In the meantime, I'll get to work. with
The 138
figures.
minus the
And we can
88
clean
is
this up.
50,000.
Okay.
Okay?
So
Get the what
their
figures?
income could be part of the investment,
Yeah.
income could be
Yeah,
a lot of
I'll
other
talk to
things.
Steve and get that too,
Okay.
okay?
There is no
That sound
accounts
okay?
receivable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's any
Or
real
there would be.
Right,
reason to set up
Or-
a meeting.
payables.
You can get that and I'll pass that information on to you.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right, and Mark.
Hmm.
Good.
Are you done looking at numbers, son?
Yep. Now, the,
I'm gonna treat that with your financial
Thank you.
statement.
I had some questions about the proposed fire protection contract. Just things I don't understand. On the second page, under number 3,
Second page, number 3. You're way ahead of me.
We're on a first name basis.
would it be easier to sit up here?
So I really don't clarify it, but it gives us some idea. So when you talk to him, maybe you'll have those numbers now.
Okay, the first
Right.
sentence of this
Yeah.
number 3 is what I'm
Okay.
says damage to any fire department or member's person, vehicles, equipment incurred in the performance of the duties set forth in this contract, or while responding to or returning from a fire or occurrence, will be reimbursed by the district, which is the town, to the extent not covered by insurance. And then you've only got $1 million of insurance. So if somebody, God forbid, while fighting a fire, falls off a roof and breaks their neck and they're in 50 years of very expensive care, the way I read this is the town would be liable for paying all that.
Well, probably the town's insurance will be.
Yeah,
Workman's comp.
The workers' comp.
That's the way I would think, but, cause they're, when they're on, when they're on a duty,
Right.
we're on a fire, an actual fire call or a,
Mhm.
That would be personal injury. However, equipment,
you know,
Well, workers' comp is not open-ended.
oh, it is if it's an ongoing scenario,
It is?
Mhm.
yes,
Yeah.
oh, yes.
Okay. All right, so that answers that question. So the town really,
Unless that person happens to want to be
The
rather
additional
stupid and
recovery.
settle.
Right.
If they settle, then that's a different, that's a court case.
Mhm.
doesn't help your experience rating.
No.
No.
okay, the next sentence, I don't even have a clue what it means. The district shall pay to the fire department the cost of materials used by the fire department or any member thereof within 60 days after written notice is received by the town board.
That refers to the first sentence.
I'm sorry?
That refers to the first sentence. And that was drawn up by the town's attorney.
Mhm.
Right.
I can't imagine who that would have been.
Well, it follows fire law.
Right.
Municipal law. Because when this
So it
contract
should
was
say-
written, Frank went to the town attorney and said, we need to have a
Oh,
contract.
the same attorney that said that the town didn't owned, that the parcels were two 25-foot parcels and not one 50-foot parcel. That attorney, now I know.
I don't know what attorney it was, I don't recall.
Okay, so it basically should say the district shall pay for the fire
Could have
department
been.
Monica,
after
that-
written notice of such damage. Then it refers to the sentence before it.
that be Monica Butterfield?
Hmm?
No, Bob.
Probably was.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, if we just add of such damage after written notice in that sentence, then I get it.
I'm not sure.
Right here. The district shall pay the fire department. Basically saying, once they tell the board, they got 60 days to pay for it.
Right, but that sentence, standalone sentence, didn't make any sense until you add the reference to the sentence before it.
We didn't argue with the attorney.
Mhm.
Is there anything else, Chris?
I think that the insurance policy coverage is too low.
$1 million is too low.
I think so.
I'll question Steve on that also when I,
Yeah,
yeah.
I got one more too.
I mean, $1 million is nothing these days.
Two,
Hmm?
okay.
So this Steve also would provide the commercial auto insurance policy for the fire department?
No, we didn't. We pay our own
You do.
auto insurance.
Our coverage through NYMERS with Steve, I could ask him if that's
The truck grant?
a reasonable amount.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Probably for the truck.
Always happy to have.
Yeah,
My concern is to protect the taxpayer.
sure, yeah.
Because
No,
if
I
there's a claim
understand.
and somebody's awarded $5 million, that means the town's on the hook for 3.
Yeah,
So,
no, it's understandable.
Well, as the,
Tom's got an umbrella, right?
as the agency having jurisdiction, you're responsible for all claims. If something
So-
happens in the process of us doing our duty,
mhm.
all right, if a suit comes up, you're the agency having jurisdiction, you're responsible for that. If there's a claim.
If there's a lawsuit, right, and it exceeds
Where's the first page?
the amount of your insurance coverage for your vehicles and general liability, then that's what I'm saying, the town would be responsible for making up the difference.
That's correct.
And that's why I don't think that the coverage that you have right now is sufficient.
Oh, I don't know yet.
$1 million.
It's something, would you think about it, and you guys, and talk to your members, because it's, I mean, I've got 2 million myself, and I'm just a person, you know?
Maybe back then $1 million was sufficient. Now,
Exactly.
yeah,
It's,
that's a good point. I'll, but like Bob said, they'll gladly up it.
No problem. You got the money, honey, we got the time.
Yeah.
and then on number 7, I don't understand what any sanctioned fire department activity is. Is this like a work day at the fire hall, or a picnic, or?
All the above,
Training.
any, all the above.
Answering call, attending punishment.
So the other day I went by and there was like 10 cars in a parking lot during the day. And I would just, boy, that looks a little strange.
The sheriff's department conducted enhanced 911 training there Thursday, Friday,
Oh, is that
Saturday,
where it
Sunday,
was?
and today.
You guys get reimbursed for that, or they pay for your electric, or cleaning, or?
No, it's just like voting. They come in, they vote, they leave, you don't get reimbursed.
They used to do that at town hall.
It makes it a really nice place for it, and we realize that, you know,
So I guess my question is, how do we know it's a sanctioned fire department activity? It's something that's organized by the fire department?
Yeah, it'd be called by the fire command.
yeah.
Fire command would say, we're doing this,
Okay.
or the president.
Yeah, could
Yeah.
be either legislative or could be fire committee.
Right, it's,
For instance, we're having a painting party tomorrow night if you want to come.
yeah, sounds like fun.
We do our building next.
These
So-
extra activities, are they hindrance to the fire department at all? I mean, we've got this facility here, I'm not sure how the library would feel about it. And maybe do the voting and the other activities here, so at the fire department, is that something that the fire department would be interested in pursuing, or are you satisfied with the way the building's being used now? You feel comfortable continuing the way?
I am, because I think it's
It's good use of the
It's
building.
good use of the,
Yeah,
you know,
okay.
and people see it's good, actually PR, so people actually can
Sure,
see
okay.
what's there and.
The only reason I ask is if you're thinking, this is gonna be a pain, why don't they go somewhere else that, okay.
It's
The only
easier
time
in
it's a
and out
pain
than
is when
coming
the
in
alarm is
here,
going
because
off.
they'd have to
Yeah,
walk all
yeah,
the way.
exactly. If the alarm goes off, it's probably a little bit of an issue, but other than that, it's fine.
Okay.
Traditionally, I think the fire department has been something of a community hub.
Oh, no, well, certainly, I'm just wondering if it was more of a hindrance to the fire department.
That's where I think we sort of find ourselves
Sure.
as a hub, by letting people come in and do different things.
Great, no, the only reason I ask is that if you're getting sick and tired of it,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah.
No, the county uses it for pretty much every training they use.
Oh, yeah,
They
yeah.
do.
The driving training,
Yeah.
all of that.
Anything else?
She didn't get
No,
arrested.
for, I know, I'm the pain here.
No.
I'd be happy with this, but I still would like it reviewed by the town attorney with, the few little changes that I think are necessary. And the fire department's gonna have to be part of that, because if we're gonna require the fire department to carry more insurance on their vehicles, then that means that they're gonna need more money. So,
Yeah, I have no idea how much additional liability would be.
it's not much at all.
Yeah.
Once you get over $1 million, and every additional million is almost, it's almost free.
Oh, we have the same insurance.
Yeah, I was gonna say, our guy's your guy, so you'll figure it out.
They give you a bulk rate with other districts or anything, or you do any combination for amounts of coverage, or is you're standalone by yourself?
Standalone.
Standalone.
What you see under insurance is what we pay.
No, I didn't know if there was-
Honestly, I think it's a little bit more than what's there right now,
Right.
but sometimes it changes. And something will go down a little bit and something goes up a little bit.
He's asking if we can, if all of us, as all fire departments, could get a group rate.
Yeah.
Like a shared service type.
Well, that's what
Yeah.
seems to be a big pool out there that somebody could tap into and
Yeah.
Yeah.
be a scale of economy kind of deal.
We're owned by the village, so.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's totally different.
yeah, there's different fire districts and,
Totally different ballgame.
yeah.
So are you saying that if, you said our insurance agent, the town's insurance agent is the same as yours? So if that agent feels that the coverage should be higher, which of course they will because they get a commission, you're
He's
good
not
with
gonna
that?
tell you no.
Yeah, exactly. So,
But Steve's pretty sharp with fire departments.
And he's
Yeah,
a,
he
he's a
is.
fireman.
He's a fireman,
He's a
so.
An
fireman.
active fireman.
Yep.
So he gets it.
so we're gonna rely on his advice,
I would,
okay?
I think very highly
Yeah.
of his recommendations so far, and I know he's very active with the fire departments. But not only this fire department, but other fire departments too.
Yeah, he's a firefighter, so that's a big
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah. Personally, I would be satisfied with this recommendation.
Well, you'll be glad to know I have no more questions.
Thank you.
If you know, like if you head up some changes or whatever you want, if you could just shoot them back and forth so we can at least see what you're
Oh, yeah.
looking at.
Okay, yeah, basically it would be just the, under 3, adding the reference to the previous sentence, adding of such damage after, within 60 days after written notice of such damage is received by the town board. And that shouldn't be a problem for anybody. And then, the amount of insurance coverage.
We'll get this
Yeah.
together and shoot you a copy of it before we do anything further.
Right. Thanks, guys.
Thank
I-
you for
I-
being
I-
patient with
I
my
appreciate
questions.
your diligence and what you do, and we'll work it out, we'll get through. I don't see any problems, actually, so.
And here again, come and we'll show you everything that we have.
I appreciate that, and I may take you up on it.
I mean,
Just
you've been
because
there
I'm
to take
in-
pictures, come and take a look at what we got. You
I'd
know,
love to, yeah.
because it's what's there. And things that we've had to do, for instance, when we bought the pagers,
Mhm.
which we haven't really gone into yet, but we will be. And Turner here, I mean, we could have turned around and just said, well, we need another $70,000 to pay this bill. We
Thought I
found a
had
way to do it so that we didn't
looked on
put
my-
that liability.
If you want a copy of it,
We don't wanna see it go
I've
up.
read it
doesn't
now,
have
so
to.
it doesn't-
That's
Yeah,
why we
okay.
put down the same amount of money for 2
same
years.
as before.
Are you still interested in a 2-year plan?
With the contract?
I would say so. Are you,
Yeah.
Dan?
I'm sorry?
Are we still interested in doing a 2-year contract?
I think that's worked out fine in the past, from what I've seen. Is that correct?
Yeah, works for us.
Okay.
There was no legal issues, right, with you?
Okay.
No, you can do up to 5
5 years. you can
Yeah.
go to.
legally.
Well, I think it's good because then we both know what's going on for 2 years.
Well, it's hard to judge out more than that.
Yeah,
Right,
it is.
exactly.
I mean, that's,
Yeah, especially in FBA.
you can't tell what insurance is gonna be, you can't, anything like that.
It's a little best guess.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank
Thank you.
Changes in law, 'cause
If I were you, I would write down my questions and shoot an email to him.
Oh, I'm going to. As I think of them.
We
This
didn't
is
really-
the thing, I get
No,
involved
after
in
she
doing
left, we
research
didn't
on
move
the
down.
subject, and I start thinking about
Well,
questions,
that's
you
what,
know?
yeah, that's what I said, not that I was aware of.
Randy walked out, so that's obviously nothing to talk about.
Yeah, actually, he ran.
I'm sure he didn't go far.
The next guy ran, so,
All right, what-
catch you guys later.
Yeah.
He's getting ready for the next siege of questions, is what he's doing.
I got some missions.
I thought he was wrapping up. I had to get off the call.
Yeah, it would be nice.
I got taken.
Make sure he gets there. Hey, I got to see your brother yesterday,
Yeah,
Charlie.
Oh, Charlie's in town?
he came home after church and got a deer.
Did he really?
Yeah, got a 6-pointer.
Good for him.
Hopefully not with the
The
car.
Weaver Game
Well,
Farm.
no, no, that's what my wife does. Charlie used the gun.
You keep them tied up all spring and summer, I know you do.
Well, last we knew, we were still on A, finishing
You got
A.
another
Probably
one?
the deer that ate all
No,
my
he got
hostas,
the one.
because we
Last
had
year.
a young buck
No,
in
she
our
was,
yard.
She got
last year
one?
was a muzzleloader.
Right there, it's where I circled in question mark, where we left off, page 10.
Oh, the health
This is his
insurance, will you just stop?
Hey, that's where we left off.
Nice show.
I have something
All right,
for,
see?
for general
Concur.
fund
General fund.
A.
Me too.
Which one?
You wanna go back and do that now?
Well,
That's where we're at.
before we go any further, if you're interested in saving a little bit, let me know.
Yeah, where were you? Okay.
Jeez, so anxious. Why do I have page 3? Oh, here we go. Here's page 1. It would be my old line. 1220 102, page 4. You left
Supervisor,
in
principal,
$2,500, which was for me to help Kathy. Now, if you still feel that there's a need for me to help Kathy in 2019.
I would hope not.
Me too. But that's 25.
Yeah.
2?
Zero.
I didn't get a raise,
No.
Mark. But you left me a line, so there's
You got
25.
a line, like,
Huh?
Good, that'll help offset the family.
So,
Good catch.
Well, I got bad news.
oh,
You're gonna spend that 2,500 right
Yeah.
now, aren't you?
Since we didn't do any of the brush grinding this year, or last year, that pile is only gonna get so big over there at the brush pit. And I believe that has to be an A line, correct?
Yeah,
why?
You'd
Because
have-
it's town
in
and
village.
village.
It will be a DA.
Well, I don't care where, it just, I need to know where we gotta put that.
It's highway, probably.
No, it's general,
But what,
the brush,
don't. He's
Don't
always trying to
complicate it.
pawn it off. What would it go under? Buildings? I mean, you got Parks and Rec. I mean, what A would it go under?
well, the first year we did it under the contractual and under A.
Machine,
Whether we did it right,
contractual.
wrong, or indifferent,
DA, probably.
It's because we had to do it.
we had to do it.
And it would be highway somehow. I mean, you'd have to put it on,
can't we put it under
5130
DB chips?
back
I mean, it's not like you could put it under town
Let's start another
clerk.
line.
You know what I mean? I mean,
Right, no, I understand that. You can't put it under town clerk or anything like that, so it's either gonna be Parks and Rec,
And this is brush that everybody's bringing. from-
town and the village, everywhere.
Yeah, so,
Can I just throw something at you before, you had to figure $3,000.
That's, we paid $2,700 for one day last year, or the first
Most
year.
of that is transportation, correct?
There's $800 worth of the transportation.
Town of Wells wants to piggyback with us and do their.
So
town
doesn't
funds.
Arietta. But Arietta doesn't have enough for, maybe an hour's worth of that machine,
But
but
still, we might be able to cut some of that cost down that way.
correct.
Okay.
I would say brush and weed used to be under DA. Used to be, back in the day.
When they did it driving around.
Yeah. So maybe that would be make another line.
Okay. And then we'll cover that in the DA section.
In the DA section, but I don't remember what number brush and weed is, but there isn't a specific, it might be like 5120 or something like that.
So yeah, it's not gonna be in here now.
No.
But there is a brush and weed line.
Mm-hmm.
How cool is that?
Yep.
Well, I'm gonna write it in
Or
where
I'm guessing-
5120 would be, cause you're pretty good at this.
She doing all right?
Everything went well according to her. She's at the end having a beer.
And she's not in cuffs. So 0.4. We'll just say brush and weed.
Then you're figuring 3,000, was that it?
Yeah.
And before
But, I
Randy,
mean,
Randy.
That was 2
takes-
years ago, so I'm sure it's gone up. But if we can save
Get the other
something,
towns in on it.
the other towns in on it.
Before
Yeah.
Randy takes the floor totally over,
We're still.
I
Hey.
called the controller's office today to ask Mark's question about the combining lines for Randy and for Debbie.
Because of the different job duties,
Yeah,
yeah.
and pretty much the response was, the reason why they're separated is to give the taxpayers an
More fair
understanding
transparency as far
of
as-
what their job, what they're paying for. So
Yeah.
if you put everything under town clerk, then the court clerk. And then he said to me what I said, and if you change anything, be prepared to get a phone call from the controller's office wondering, what on earth are you doing?
Going
So-
forward.
Yeah,
Right.
so, no can do.
Go.
You're on.
You're- see,
Why is it mine? We're still in A in hospital insurance.
Yeah, we're gonna get that out of the way.
I thought we finished. Oh,
We
no,
did
have to come
not.
back. That's because we didn't have the new quote, right?
Correct. And we paused. Now you're gonna go non-pause.
Well, I haven't seen the new number yet. That was today, right?
It's the same.
So it's the same.
It's 0.
So I have to read,
0 increase from last year.
all right, so I have to redo all these numbers. Because throughout the budget, I have 4.6% built in for next year, because
The
that was the
4.6
original.
is for the senior, or for the
For the,
retirement.
This is the most recent that came in
No,
No, that was
late this
2.7.
afternoon.
that's
Is
2.6.
that the second one?
Mm-hmm,
Which it should say 0 at the bottom?
yep,
Because I screamed and yelled
that's
at it.
it. Well, I noticed that,
What time is that one?
our deductible is now double.
Probably about 10 minutes after
The
the first.
deductible,
Oh, that would
Oh,
be,
no, this is,
what he originally quoted us
No.
was for the MVP 1 that we originally started talking about, not 2.
Okay.
So that's when I started screaming at him. I said, I personally asked you if this is the right number in that meeting. And you said yes. And now, we were saving $5,000. Now, at that point in time, we were costing $1,600.
yeah.
Miraculously, the phone went dead. I called back, got put on hold for about 10 minutes, and then he answered, and he says he had it figured out.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're at this number here at 0. Did you get a copy of that? There's
I'm
the-
guessing no.
Okay,
What's
it's
HR?
like
So,
What time did that come?
about 10 minutes after that first one.
Health,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah.
this is
great.
from
Contribution.
this morning's meeting,
Well,
you
what's
know
the-
that, right?
What's
Yeah.
the HRA fees?
HRA fees.
What does
oh,
HRA stand for?
Health reimbursement
Reimbursement
account.
account, thank
There
you.
you go.
That's
That's what I said.
that's our deductibles for everybody in the town that's working.
So the fees are, we're paying an
You're
admin
paying-
fee to somebody?
No,
Well, actually, yes. there's
well,
a-
yes, that's not
Basically,
that, that's
what
the
this
next line
is
down.
Yeah,
So-
Instead of paying $38,563 more this year.
This line is the proposed,
We're gonna pay
this
zero
line is
more
what we have to put in
by
an
switching to
account
the health accounts.
to pay the
It's high,
With the
deductibles
high deductible
to
plan.
somebody.
yeah.
Mhm.
this line right here,
And there's the scribbling. I did, if it
1,200
makes any sense to you.
and change,
Hmm.
that is our admin fees for them to set up everybody's personal credit card account
And take care of it.
and take care of it.
Credit card.
So when we go to the hospital, we have a $700 fee. We have our insurance card. We hand them the insurance card and we hand them our credit card. That's town.
Is it debit
line.
card?
Debit
The
card.
Debit card, sorry, not a credit. Debit card. We swipe that up to that $3,200 comes off of that debit card. After that debit card, then the copays start, which are cheaper than the copays we have right now. So that's what that $48,000 is. So when we get all said and done, compared to last year's to this year's, we're still at zero. We were $5,000 ahead when we left, but
But we're
You
not
mean-
paying $38,563 more than this year.
bingo, we're not paying
That's where the
11.8%.
savings
And
Yeah,
if,
by doing the admin.
right, if I doing this admin fees, when I don't get hurt in the whole year, don't get sick and don't go to the hospital, 1,600 of that, and I'm not speaking for my wife, half of that will stay in that account.
Stay there.
So next year,
And carry over.
it carries over, you don't have to, the town taxpayers don't have to put that back in.
And if it's like an HSA, that goes with you when you go.
No.
No.
No,
That's why we're doing the admin fees.
Okay,
yeah,
That is strictly the town taxpayers' money. That is not
good.
personal.
which can be built on, provided you have some low-cost years.
Yeah, right.
Right, exactly. We can almost have a health reserve fund.
Right.
Put
And
him
then,
in a rubber suit so he doesn't get
right,
hurt.
and so in the
Yep.
year after
Straight
year,
jacket.
5 years
Yeah.
into this, 10
One of
years into
those
this, you may not have to put
rolly-
any of that in there.
Exactly.
Right.
Understand.
You know, we might be able to save that much money.
Yep.
We may not, but at least it's at zero, not 11.8%.
It's a miracle.
And, yeah, and it's better, quote unquote, insurance, cause I won't have to pay up to that $3,200.
Right.
And then if I do go over that, the deductibles are less than what we're paying now.
And that's for a double. the
And that's for a double.
5,200, yeah.
Yeah,
So it's a win-win
And you
situation.
don't have to have cash for your copay.
You don't have to have
Just hand
cash
them a
out
debit
front
card.
and then get reimbursed by the town.
And
They take care of all the paperwork
so,
for
I
that
don't
12
really,
months.
I don't have anything I can really.
here,
Yeah,
Did you bring
Page one.
the extra?
2.
No, this is all right. This is fine.
but you can have this, cause I've got more copies of
He's
this,
got lots of them.
Oh,
but you can't have this. You can't
that's
have
good. I
that.
don't want it.
So a relatively healthy individual might not have anything out of pocket for
Exactly.
the entire year.
Right,
Which is great for the young guy
right.
Right.
or gal.
And we've got a fair number of them right now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the men should love this, and the ladies,
Hey, don't
and
forget
not to
that.
Debbie. Because they're not gonna pay any deductibles anymore.
Right.
And this is going to, in a way, make up for charging them a greater share of the premium.
Right.
It's going to reduce their out-of-pocket.
Mhm.
And the
So-
people that are paying the 20%, now this insurance that we were told the original time was 10% less.
Yeah,
So that's 10% less out of their pocket
right.
on that 20%. Doing, whatever, say they're paying $60, now they're gonna pay 54
Yeah, for the new hires.
for the new hires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a lot, but it's 10%.
Okay. Thank you. So,
Were the seniors discussed at all?
No,
No, I
2.6,
I think it's 2.3 or 2.6, was it?
4.2 for seniors.
Yeah, we were told Medicare is going up 2.3%. Debbie told us this. This
Yeah,
year,
right.
it's 383.20, and she says next year it'll be 399.70.
99.29.
I'm sorry?
399.29.
I've got 399.70, it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's 4.2.
And that we have,
that's 4.2?
really? I should have done
Well,
the
according
math.
to, I didn't do the math, but I can real quick.
It doesn't sound right.
I think one was 2.6 or 2.4 was the general population, and the seniors I know was more.
So did we figure that?
You know what, you're right, Mark.
Yeah, that's,
Yes,
sounds like
correct.
the numbers I heard.
So did we figure that the numbers from 18 would just go without increasing to 19?
Right.
Because we're going down
There's no
9%
increase.
or whatever it is.
You mean the workers' insurance,
Right,
the active employees?
right, and then the others going
Yeah,
up.
it's going, line will stay the same, basically,
Yeah.
Mhm.
when we get there.
Well, that's where we are, according to Randy.
Why is it always me? I'm just
Yeah,
the guy who.
4.2 for seniors.
Okay.
So I gotta redo all those numbers for
Right.
Easy peasy, just put it back to
It's a work in progress.
Okay, so
It's in the cloud.
theoretically, whatever it costs us this year is what it's supposed to cost us next year.
Yeah,
in theory.
rumor has it.
Now, what it costs us this year, are we completely paid at this point?
What it cost us this year? No,
No,
because you
You
gotta
could do
bill
it
us
monthly.
a month, yeah.
Right,
you get a monthly period.
so, is that the 205?
205 and it's up to 148.
So the budget number instead of 180 is gonna be 205?
Should be.
Why did you have it go down, Mark?
We got it down 12.13%.
Well, there was some rearranging there based on,
Payroll.
yes, based on the last bills I was provided with the breakout, based on payroll. And I extrapolated from there.
That
So you
times
just-
12.
Did the A fund.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that times 12 you put in?
Yeah, whatever that, because there's the breakout on the October bill, so that's what I use to go forward. So, and I
She's
know,
not
I did
paying
notice.
anything out of B?
Hmm?
She's not paying?
No,
anything?
there's nothing out of B, it was determined.
Okay.
There
Cause you gotta
wasn't-
do both, you gotta do the retirees and
Which I did,
okay.
but I did notice the changes, and
Okay,
that was based on the October bill this year.
But the end number will work, is what I'm getting at? You know, I don't wanna be,
When I go back and change it, yeah. That's got the inflated 2
this has got the inflated. Okay,
so I gotta break those
but at
numbers.
the end of the budget, there will be enough money in there for the insurance.
Yes,
It's actually extra right now. Cause it's inflated all the way through.
2%.
yeah.
Yeah, 2
Wherever-
point whatever.
Wherever
Okay.
wherever you see the
Okay,
insurance item.
Why was there no health insurance paid out of B? Oh, because it wasn't budgeted in B last year. That's what he
You had
wanted.
a note on your sheet there. It was
No
the-
employees, somebody.
Right, or something like that. Remember that?
okay.
Yeah, because the assessor
Moving.
and Bob
Right.
got
Right.
out. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out soon.
So here's a question. Do you want me to redo the tentative to these new numbers and reprint before we go on to the preliminary?
No,
No,
Or just go?
do with the preliminary.
just do the preliminary and then hand it out because this isn't
Yeah, we ain't got time.
adopted yet.
No.
Oh, no.
We got almost a month.
No, but I didn't know if
So
you
when we-
wanted the tentative numbers changed or just changed.
No, that was tentative, now we're
Right,
going on
that
to
was the
preliminary.
tentative that
Okay.
you handed out.
Cause that's what's filed with
Right, clerk.
the clerk.
Right.
So you don't change that,
Okay.
the next filing.
B fund's not mine.
That's the only thing we had left on the A, is that
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, it was the end of A. So,
Nancy, are we going to need a new one for the, health savings account?
Yes.
And where would that go, do you think?
That would go we'd probably raise that money, would be included in the health insurance line, because we're raising the money there. And then it would be accounted for as another savings account line. Cause I asked the controller this, and he had me so dizzy by the time I got off, it was something like put it in a trust and agency line instead of, do you do it with payroll? And finally I said, no, all we need to know is just, we wanna have how much ever it was,
$48,000.
Yeah, $48,000 set aside into a separate savings account so we can just move that money when we need it. Oh, okay, yeah, what you said originally is fine.
So it would just be added to 9060.800, you're saying?
Mhm.
Okay.
And then, it is in there already,
Okay.
right? If we're leaving it the way it is,
Mhm.
that
Right.
was already.
That's already calculated into that.
So if we put it in a savings account line, if we're raising it out of every fund,
You
we
gotta
would
figure
have
out
to
that
take
percentage
out of every fund to put into.
to a savings account. Yep, because you're gonna
Maybe we
take,
should just raise it out of one fund and put it in a savings account, like in the general.
How can you,
how can you do that? It's not gonna raise people's taxes in their village, when
Yeah. I don't know.
you're gonna have to take a percentage out of each one.
Yep. And then take it out of that when we have to spend it down.
Whatever the amount, that 180, what percentage that is of the total amount, you know how much you're taking
Well,
out of
that's
that
when
fund.
Mark's paying the big bucks. You can
That's
figure that
Right. If that's 33%, then you take 33% of the 48,000 out of that one. Working numbers backwards,
out. Mhm.
get me?
The computer will figure it all out, right, Mark?
Just plug it in there.
You know, it's funny, I play with these numbers, but I don't even have the authority to go in and make the change.
You mean to add lines and things like that?
Yeah. I can't.
Yeah, right.
Did Kathy add any yet?
Yeah, I had a whole list of stuff. I haven't, she said she got it done, so.
Won't give her more. We just added Russian meat.
Yeah.
Well, not
Not yet, we haven't got there yet.
yet. Okay.
Couple more days. Okay.
So B, demolition garbage revenue. That is, we put 4,500, we're right on target, we're at 43.
alright,
That seems like a good number to go with.
Mhm.
Post-closure, I don't have any numbers on that, that's you.
that's gonna be the same this year, but next year would be half of that.
So
Yeah.
19, it's gonna be the same?
Yep.
Okay.
And that's money that we get.
Building permits,
From
We
the
get
other
percentage of
towns.
that back from the other towns, so.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Randy.
no, building permits, we assume that's the same.
Um,
Pretty low right now, but you gotta wait for the town clerk report, cause those go through the town clerk report.
Yeah, but his numbers are pretty close to last year's.
Which are up then.
Cause right now it has, he's only got about a third of what was.
Last year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't know,
Well, this would be through
probably through,
September or
Yeah.
August.
probably August, because this is the end of
9/28.
September. So she
Yeah.
probably doesn't
Doesn't
have
have
a September
September's
town
in there.
clerk report there.
That would be my guess.
Mhm.
Okay.
You wanna put 50,000 in other revenues?
If you can figure out how to get it there in the real numbers. I will gladly. The only other revenue we have is Mr. Fund balance over there.
And that's pretty much shot in,
Oh, shot in A, I know that, so
in B.
I'm assuming it's shot there too, but
It was shot in B last year.
What, the fund balance?
yeah. Appropriated fund balance in the bottom line is a 0 at this point.
Oh, no, that's, no.
I'm asking him what, do we
Appropriated fund balance in here, though, that's where you put it.
take out of there?
You got, well, I'm projecting at the end of the year, you'll have 28 grand in there.
And 20% of a $76,000 is 14,15,2.
Lots of money in there.
There's not much money in there. I would say.
No.
There's only,
I'm gonna talk to the guy who says 20%.
See, he wouldn't give me a figure, because he said that if you have a town the size of Lake Pleasant, or you have a town the size of Poughkeepsie, say,
big
if
numbers.
you say 20% here and 20% there,
It's
it's
not a, it's not a,
totally different.
what is, but he said for Lake Pleasant, should be 20%. That's what Sean told me.
Okay.
Well, because we have any major need.
Yeah,
But,
it seems
you
sensible
don't
to
have,
me.
you don't have, yeah, if you have 20,
Yeah,
all depends on what you got 20% of.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's right,
Exactly.
that's right.
the well's a lot shallow. We got a shallow
Pool.
jet pump well here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, well put.
Contingent, Mark's favorite.
Yeah, what line are you on?
We are on page 13, line 1.
Oh, you looked at
Give you 1,000.
Yep, and we used a little bit out of it, it looks like,
Yeah.
because the contingent line goes backwards. It's kind of an odd thing. But I'm all for contingents.
Well, the original budget, we left 1,000 in.
Registrar of Vital Statistics is 2%.
Yep.
Street lighting, I am like 100% opposed to knocking out street lights, but I'd like to find out which ones you and Mr. Fox deemed.
Got them all marked. And you should just drive around at night and see where they are.
Well, do you have a list of which ones you wanna do away with?
I've got a list that
He's got a drawing
I've got a drawing.
of the roads.
I made my own map of Lake Pleasant and the
mean-
roads.
Okay, could I get a copy? I'm curious
And as soon as
because,
I have it done,
yeah,
yeah.
because it's nice that Mr. Fox is probably out of here already.
Yeah, oh, no,
For
no.
the dark
And I'll be
ones.
perfectly honest with you, he's the one that suggested most of these be removed, you know.
Which is no savings to him.
Exactly, because he's in the village.
Exactly.
So odds are we're not doing the LED
Not this
before the
year.
first of the year.
We haven't even gotten the bio from
Exactly.
National Grid yet, so.
So 11,000 now, are we gonna make it under 15 this year?
You know better than,
I don't get those bills. I don't have a spreadsheet for that.
For what?
Electric.
Electric.
Yeah.
Well,
Street
we
lights?
probably street lights.
We won't probably have a good handle on that till after we get the report at the
Right.
end of October, really.
At least,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I didn't bring my other stuff with me, or I'd have the latest one we've got. It's too big to carry. Too late in the year. Need a briefcase like you
Zoning.
dump on the floor, right?
Yep.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, the zoning stays the same, Bob's not gonna get a raise.
2%, right? Shouldn't he get 2%?
That's what we've been doing.
Yeah.
Let's see, this says Dan. What number are we on?
8110.101.
We're in the same spot.
81.
Oh,
8010.
Oh, 8010.
Is that what I did? No, that was Bob.
That was Bob, we asked Bob.
Yeah,
We said, we're
And Bob
talking
said,
about.
no, I'm doing this for a hobby.
yeah.
Really?
Oh, goodness of my heart.
Scratch. That's what the gentleman wants to put in?
Feel
Zoning
benevolent.
and
Would you say
planning
two?
secretary.
But we should be doing two across the board, shouldn't we?
I would think.
Yeah.
Cost of living is the cost of living, whether you're a potato or a.
What's the cost of living?
First time I ever heard of it referred that way. Very interesting.
I'm always interesting. I change things up, make sure people are paying attention.
Yeah.
Planning secretary, there hasn't been any planning board meetings, or?
Yeah, there have been. There was
Was
one
there a
just
secretary?
a week or so ago.
Planning board? Wow,
Wonder why it's not in there.
yeah. Well, like $200 is,
Yeah.
that's nothing.
Believe that?
Yeah.
You want 200 or put 200 in?
There,
Oh, you left it blank, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just left the blank. We'll do 2?
two,
Okay.
Yeah, we should.
0 for the next one. Nobody's training.
No.
Expenses gonna remain the same.
That zoning contractual,
Well, in 17 it was almost 550, so 600 seems way out of line, but.
It's, what did we say last time? Throwing the dart?
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's all it is.
code enforcement mileage, wow, he's way up there already, and that's, like we were saying, that's through August.
He really
Right.
gets out and about, so maybe we wanna move some of that .400 into .401.
Oh,
Oh,
no, not 400.
No,
No, cause
You mean the,
Move some of
103
the
to
zoning
401.
contractual to the code enforcement mileage.
What is zoning contractual anyway?
I don't know. That might be for stuff that,
wouldn't that be his programs and anything?
software
Yeah.
stuff.
Software?
well, software, there's a computer line, that's usually where the software goes
That
too,
makes sense.
but that's in A, so. I don't know.
what'd Bob have for that? Anything?
The contraction?
Yeah,
600.
he did?
Where do you wanna put his mileage up to?
I don't know where it's going, I would say
3?
probably 3, yeah.
Is the rate going up next year? The
Oh,
reimbursement rate?
it might,
Probably, right?
cause the
Yeah, but that,
fuel's going up.
You mean mileage rate?
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't go
I heard
up,
anything
doesn't go
yet.
up that much.
No.
No, usually goes up like 0.5% or something like that.
Even if it went up a percent, it's
Yeah.
it's no money.
What do you want, Randy? Give me a number.
Plus 2,800 sound.
Sold.
Sounds good to me.
That's why we have the contingent, just in case.
Right.
Code enforcement other,
Yeah, I can put a note there, what's that for? Is that if we have to bring somebody in from the other town? Because
Oh,
he may
maybe.
have a conflict?
yeah, like.
If he were doing
Arietta.
something on his house, for instance.
Yeah, or did they just have a reciprocal
I don't
agreement?
know the
I
answer.
think there's always been a reciprocal.
Yeah,
One was away, the other one covered.
Okay, fine.
this could be for his software if he needs not paper, but.
I know there's certain things he has to update periodically. That's probably with this.
Well, the thing is, we look at, the actual in 16 was 190, and we look at the actual for this year, it's 26, so it would appear that something goes on there.
Yeah,
Did
And
he
it-
put in 500?
And it may, I wonder, do you think that has anything to do when we do a reval?
Maybe. But we used to have a revale
Oh,
line.
also, is there, there's a lovely code enforcement books, how many years do they keep them up
Yeah.
from state codes?
Mhm.
That alone has got, there's a stack of books this wide in
I
there.
think he does most of that online now.
No, he has actual handbooks that he pulls out and reads to you.
Right, that could be.
on the job site if you have questions. He's
Just
done
in
it with
case he
me.
has to buy any books. The 1,500, wasn't he gonna buy some kind of big program or books or something last year that he was talking about?
Well, that would be for this.
I mean, for 18.
So that should have been already done.
You know what I mean?
Let's
Yeah.
just wait
Is
till the
this
end of
his
the year.
figure, Mark?
Which one?
810.402? That $500, is that
His or yours?
Bob's figure?
We asked him the numbers. When we s-
Yeah, that's.
So let's just leave it.
Leave it.
Let's move along.
Yeah.
Okay, landfill tipping fees.
That's going up.
Bingo. Oh, got that email where you 3% that he says it's going up. And this number went down.
Just can't stay away, can you?
Shelley was watching Dancing with the Stars. It's much more than right.
You gotta be kidding. On both parts.
Perfect.
I got some interrupt.
So,
No base.
current, right now,
Say again, Randy, I'm sorry.
current right now, we have $10,000 left in that line. As of today's, which is, brings you to the end of September.
21,000.
Last month alone, September, which is pretty much what you're gonna do from now till, it might drop a little bit. I can go back. and
What
previous
about yours? What about cleanup? How much-
Cleanup is done,
Yeah,
but
I wouldn't-
that's October.
September. Yeah, I know, I
Right.
was wondering how.
so
big of
hold on a
impact that
second, I
is.
can come up with last year's.
Did you get billed for it?
But I didn't throw away the same stuff.
What'd you say?
Punchy.
Said I didn't throw away the same stuff.
Oh, okay.
Weighs different.
It weighs, it does. It's
I
actually,
drilled holes in it before I put it in.
I'll go home.
I'm in the village.
My wife's having ice cream without me.
I'm in
Oh
the
my
village.
goodness.
Watching Dancing
Was
with
she
the
Probably
watching Dancing
is.
with the Stars? Oh my god.
Oh. Why didn't I just click on that?
So what email are you talking about? Is it-
So
this is
Tracy
going up
sent, I do
10%?
believe
From
Tracy,
Tracy?
I got it at the committee meeting,
oh, committee meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
the rates for the
Tipping fees.
tipping fees.
But you haven't gotten a tipping fee.
But this
So-
is from Dank?
Actually,
No, it's from the county. The county sets the
but it's
fees.
based on the dank
It's
rates.
based on that, but
Okay.
Plus a surcharge for equipment and everything else.
October.
Going on.
November and December last year was $6,800. So we're gonna
We end
have
up with 3,500.
$3,500, $3,200 left over. And we dropped it $1,000 according to this. They're going up 3% on the fees. So you take 3% of $30,000,
900.
900.
okay? So we're gonna be right back at $31,000, not the 3,000.
Okay.
If everybody throws the garbage out the way.
Now, this is presuming we're still going there.
And everybody
Well,
throws away the same.
Last we've known, that's where we're going this year, right?
I think it's gonna be another year before anything really happens.
Okay.
So we're,
31?
Yeah.
we can do the 3, I mean, you're squeaking
Hmm.
the violin strings.
Contingent.
Contingent is always there.
It's getting used
You
up
want,
already.
if you wanna leave it 30,000, just be prepared that it could be just a touch over.
Is there gonna be more people in town or less people in town?
You tell me that,
2019?
my crystal ball ran battery dead today.
You don't have a dartboard for that?
No. Are they gonna throw out the garbage here or bring it back home and throw it out?
Yeah, right.
Right.
That's,
That is the
we
question.
got rid of the dumpster in front of the town for,
Can we put a
that might
dumpster?
help.
Oh, I'll bet you're right.
Oh, I know I'm right.
Courthouse is overflowing now.
Go for it.
Go figure. Yep.
Can't we put one at the town line leaving
No,
south?
we have one. It's right out there called the
Going
transfer
south.
station.
So we're going with 30,000 or 31,000, folks?
Let's do 31. Let's throw,
I'm all
You
for
know.
31, just to make sure.
Yeah.
I think
Because-
31 to be safe and leave the
Yeah,
contingent.
exactly.
Okay.
Hate having a garbage.
landfill
Post-closure.
post-closure monitoring. Dan, you're on.
It's all about you.
Yeah.
That was, that's gotta stay the same,
It's gonna be the same, right?
yeah.
Next year's gonna drop, right?
Next year it's gonna, next year that's what.
Okay.
So it should be 4,500 instead of 47, is that what you're saying?
No, next year it's gonna be,
Right now, it's 46,664,
it'll be
so.
2250 next year.
We're talking 19.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, so 4,700 is the correct
47 is
figure.
probably-
Right.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
It's the figure.
Okay.
It's
One
a,
and only.
it's a figure.
Okay, we're just kind of all.
Right, right.
If, so the only income coming out of Social Security and Medicare and is, out of that, right? Bob, thank you.
Right. For whatever reason, this medical's not broke up.
Have you seen anything on?
Because he doesn't get health insurance. Bob.
That would explain. Sorry.
You seen anything on state retirement yet?
I haven't, no. Dan should get an email,
Yeah, we should
Seen it,
hear
yeah.
soon.
or someone should, because either you or Kathy would get it, because it's addressed to me, I don't know. You know, names have been changed.
you always got it before, didn't you?
Hmm?
You always got it before.
And it might come by, it does come by email, and it does come in, and they give you an estimate for the following year, so. we might
I haven't
have
seen
to
anything yet.
check with Kathy on that one.
What's that one big number?
Uh-huh.
It's gotta be,
Very big
Gotta be
number.
it's
divided.
gotta be broken up.
Yeah.
Mhm. That's your job.
There is a, if it's still on the bulletin board in Kathy's office, there was a formula in how it was broken up in the past.
You guys are killing me.
But, well, I guess we'll have the same number of employees now, that's right.
Yeah.
As long as they
It should go down with,
Should go down because they're paying part of their
They're paying,
retirement.
You
Until
just gotta,
10
you
years.
gotta get rid of the expensive people.
Right.
yeah, we got rid of me, and,
Got rid of Don.
well, he wasn't an expensive person, he was a tier 4. We gotta get the tier 1s, 2s, 3s.
There ain't no more of those.
There can't be any more of them, can there?
Oops. Nope. Lock the door.
I know how to do it, gotta lock the door.
Okay.
Okay, Andy.
Hey, DA. So,
The,
last year we put in 50,000 for state snow and we brought in 61. Once again, it's a best guess if we can keep the snow coming the way it has been. They are upping their rates a little bit this year,
Are they?
so they haven't told us how much yet. We haven't had that meeting. But that's why I kept it where it is at 60. I brought it up to that.
doesn't look like we're too far off.
Excuse me, Roxy was wondering how much longer I think.
We have no idea.
No idea.
Hours.
Okay.
We're not quite halfway.
Sounds good.
So the next one down goes right with that. The guys brought in, you know, that doesn't really change any. It's just a wash on the next page.
Mhm.
But we pay the guys, the state reimburses us. So,
With wages reimbursement though might go down because their rates go down, have gone down, Don.
no, Plow drivers haven't changed.
Oh, that's right, Don wasn't doing it.
Ed, Zeke, Andy, and Dan, they haven't changed.
Okay,
If anything, they're gonna go up 2%.
Malcolm.
Malcolm doesn't do state road.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Transport, I haven't used this.
What
I
is that?
don't know what that's for.
That is what we get from the village. That's the 1,500, half of it goes in there and half of it goes in DB.
Oh, you split it. Okay.
But I think you have to bill them, don't you? Or do they just
No, we have a
automatically-
contract that says you're supposed to pay it.
Okay.
That's that contract that we made 5 years, not 1 year.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
we may
So-
have to remind the mayor
Right.
that we need this money.
I wasn't sure if you had to do a voucher. I think I used to do a voucher.
What's
Okay.
it for again?
What's it for?
The $1,500 to take care of
Old Gilmantown?
the first
Well,
mile of
okay.
Gilmantown. We plow it in the wintertime because
Yep.
we're on our way to plow our road.
Yeah.
So they pay us $1,500, so they split $750 to $750. State snow benefits, same scenario. We
You
can,
put 750 in there as a revenue because he has a 5-year contract.
It's funny, from my driveway, I can see the county truck coming, I can see the village. I can see the
Mhm.
They know they just go quarter lap.
State snow benefits, we just kept it at 25, it's been 16, 15, 16. And why we keep it at 25, I don't know, but depending on a bad year, I guess.
You
Go with 20?
want to change it to 20?
It'd be a more accurate number, I think,
I think so too.
based on the last 4 years.
You're 21.
It's not making the budget numbers look good, but
It's auctioning baby on.
they're more accurate. Interest, I have no control of that.
It's pathetic.
Scrap, steel, and excess materials.
You never know.
It depends on what we,
It will be a bonus if
Right.
we get some.
sale of equipment. The reason that number is so high, is we're planning on 215 going bye-bye next year. Okay,
And are you being optimistic with 15 or you figure that's?
I'm being optimistic. We got 21 for a cabin chassis. This is going plows, box, everything. So maybe we can get more, but
And leave the runway out for you, and I'll leave the foyer light, okay?
Perfect.
Does that work
I'll make sure
for
it's all,
everybody? Okay.
Thanks, Rox.
Thanks.
thank you.
Ryan.
we may get 25, we may get 10. I
Mhm.
don't know.
Runway there, okay?
Depends on who wants it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right,
All
great.
right.
Thanks.
Good night.
Good night.
We're hoping there's no insurance recoveries.
What one's that for?
You hear about Arietta today?
I was there. I
Was
brought
that
Craig out
Arietta
to
that
it.
did
I
that?
drove the truck back.
They will truck robbing Morehouse.
Yeah.
Was that was Arietta's truck?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty bad.
No, it didn't hurt the truck bad, but it's, probably $2,000 or $3,000 worth of
Oh.
stuff.
And have the box
The
open?
problem is it tore down all the power lines, phone lines, fiber optic lines. The guy that showed up just to inspect the fiber optics gets $5,000 to show up. It's $10,000 to splice it if they need to splice it. National Grid was really not happy. They had more people there than you can imagine.
Who pays for that then? They
Their
pay through
insurance
their
company.
insurance, wow. But what did he have the box up?
Yep. He had the box up, cleaning it out, got in a truck and drove away down the state highway. Almost flipped it over backwards.
No.
Because with the box all the way up, 18 feet in the air, you catch the wires, it's got a big lever to flip that over.
Wow. And the driver is okay?
Yep, really shaken up, but
Yeah,
once they de-energized the lines that were laying across the truck, they asked him to get out, and he was half an hour later still shaking, so I told Craig to bring him down here to the health center,
Hmm.
and he agreed with me it'd be the best idea. Get him checked out.
This happened recently?
Today?
Today at
Oh,
10:30.
today?
Route 8 was shut down for hours. It might still be shut down.
Out at the barn?
Huh?
At the barn out there?
French Road.
French Road was the
The far end of
very
French
long
Road.
detour.
No, the road that they were paving was a detour, so imagine what that
Oh my God.
made mess of.
Wow, that's one for the bucks, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
So now they're a couple days behind on that deal. Moving on.
moving on.
Now that we just explained the whole accident thing. Miscellaneous revenues, I don't foresee any of that. I don't know. What's our fund balance, sir?
You're gonna adjust that a couple of times before
Nah.
this.
Gonna be 192. Oh, wait a minute, excuse me.
Take out the
How about
60,
two-
or take out the 110.
Yeah,
273, round numbers.
that's without
We're
my,
doing DA, right?
yeah, where's my truck fund?
Your truck fund? You got
110,000
110
there.
in there.
Yeah, that's not,
Oh, that ain't right. Boy, you're good.
I like my numbers.
Did you just hear me say that too, or were you
Yeah.
ignoring me?
Where did that number come from?
For the 110? Yeah.
So you want your fund balance without your truck?
Bingo.
One,
Well, I think that's the number I just told you. No. 325,853.
that's the fund balance for the end of the year for
No,
her?
no, no.
No. Don't make sense. If so, we're doing good. That's 50%.
Well, if I take, you want it without your,
Without
your
the truck
special?
fund, yes.
Should be able to do this in my head, but my head is kind of tired right now. 160, call it 164.
Makes 32. Wait, 628 times 0.2. 125 is what? Minus 164. Makes it $38,000.
It's that or
Over
Dancing
what
with the
they-
Stars.
We're not going on to do that.
So, how close do you want it to that 20%? If that's what they're saying, it's
38
20%.
over.
We're 38 over the 20% right now.
38 now.
Tell me where we are, please, I'm sorry.
We are on the bottom of page 15, appropriated fund balance.
Oh, nice.
Fund balance is 38,000 over the 20% that the state says we need to have in there.
So why don't we do 30,000 appropriated fund balance?
Yeah, 30.
Okay, what we did last year.
But like I said, you have to revisit that towards the
Yeah,
end
we
of
gotta
the
have
year.
it.
Because of snow.
Gotta visit it,
and-
yeah.
Yeah, gotta, see what that actual number is the day before we vote on the
Sorry, I
budget.
used to do it in September, October,
October,
and
right,
right
every
before
time.
the, yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't usually change terribly much, but what was it, that one year? I got it within $1,000 of the actual. Frank kept it, and he said
Nice.
he couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe
Okay,
it either, never
I
did that.
assume that's the auto insurance is
Yeah.
the accurate number.
Mm-hmm.
That's from Steve.
Contingent. I say we leave it there, but.
Right.
General repairs, personal services. You notice there is no percentage change, but yet we're gonna give the 2% due to the fact of retirees and people leaving us and hiring on laborers at this point. They haven't moved up.
How'd they do with their test?
Failed. Moving on.
Okay, never mind.
So that's why I left that number at 0. Didn't increase it any, but
So you're saying that $190,000 is gonna go up by 2%?
no, it is not. I'm leaving that 190,000 right where it was last year to this year.
Oh, because
But
of
yet
attrition.
giving the guys the 2% raise doesn't affect that because
Personnel leaving.
Mm-hmm.
personnel reasons, payroll reasons.
Okay.
You're good
Yeah.
with safety equipment?
Safety equipment, that's with all the new people, that is not going down. Because every time guys
Jackets,
leave,
boots.
jackets, boots, helmets, gloves, vests, they all get issued and then they leave or whatever. We'll get right back.
They're all the
It's
same
pers-
size, it would be easy.
It,
And they didn't have their name on it.
well, we don't do names anymore. I
Oh,
got out of
that's
that. But either way, it's personal equipment. You can't ask for it back.
Mhm.
Um,
The state does, don't they? They ask for uniforms.
Machinery equipment.
machinery equipment, DA. I don't know how we're doing.
The next line's your reserve.
Right. But how are we doing the buying of the truck?
You asking me?
Mm-hmm. Because you've
Or that's gonna be
But that's gonna be this year.
it's
2019.
19.
You're buying it in 19?
Mm-hmm. 110 plus this 50 makes 160 plus 54,000 out of my chips fund is to 200 and change.
So then, oh,
See, scratching heads.
no, you would put it in as a revenue,
Right.
your 110 as a
Okay.
revenue or somewhere. The reserves to me are more difficult to figure out than the, yeah. How did we do it the last time, Randy?
We didn't take it out of reserves. We had all we did is move monies around extra from that
Yeah,
1 year
yeah.
budget. I did remember I had a line of like 18 transfers I needed done, 2,000 from this
Does it
account
come
and
out of-
2,000 from that account.
Does that come out of fund balance
Yes,
then? So maybe
because
it
that's where
just
he
comes-
has the 110 in that one of those.
Right, so it might just come directly out of fund balance from a prior year. And we put the 110 on the machinery equipment line,
Now, and we put it under DA, correct?
correct,
Because it's a snowplow.
right? And then you got the 50 below it,
But when we go down to that fund balance appropriated, that's got to go up at least to 110. The last line of DA should be,
no, because that fund balance appropriated comes off the tax.
okay,
Yeah,
so that's
yeah,
revenue.
no, so it probably does. I don't know, that'd be a good question to. So you mean make that 160, because we're taking it from fund balance. And then put the 110 there, and then we got the 50.
And then.
No, no, I'm sorry, I said, make it appropriated fund balance of 140.
140, that will account for our 110.
Right, and that will come directly out of fund balance,
And that's revenue.
yeah, the
And then we
problem,
got to put 110 in this machinery equipment line.
yeah, right,
Or do we got to do,
So the 30 is gonna become 140?
yeah, I think so, because we're gonna be taking monies that
But
we saved,
Do you have to add the 30 to that and make it 170?
grand total, the machinery equipment line needs to be 190. 110 and 50, 160, sorry.
160.
on this,
So if we-
on this machinery equipment line.
Yeah, so that needs to be 110, but what? You
And
were,
then
you
plus
were,
the
you were
50.
talking about the fund,
Yeah, that's where I'm confused. The fund balance line, if we're taking
because if
money
we're gonna try to leave the 30, use the 30, that doesn't
For the rest
to
take
of
into
the-
reduce,
consideration.
regular to reduce taxes.
Right,
So you gotta do 140.
but do we have to add the 140 to the 30 to make it 170 is my question.
No, because we're talking
110.
110 plus 30.
Okay, I'm with you.
And we, at the end of the time, when the time comes, that 50, instead of putting it in fund balance, we're gonna put it into the truck. Pull money out of that line.
That's what I thought we were doing.
Yeah.
Okay. So we need to change that 30 to 140.
Right.
And put,
Or what might make it easier, instead of putting the 50 in the capital reserve, just make the machinery equipment line 160.
160 and not have the
right,
50.
and not
And
have
not
that 50 there.
50 going into a reserve that
To
we're.
coming back out.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay. So we'll scratch that, make it 0.
We have to remember that when we budget 20.
Oh, you're
Correct.
right.
So that 201 is going to 0.
201 is 0. 200 is 160.
160.
And on the page before that,
That's
the
one.
fund balance is 140.
That part, I'm trying to figure out if, I was gonna say if we make another line that says move from reserve or something like that as a revenue, but I'm not sure
It's-
if there is such
it's
an
not a
animal.
Right, it's in his book on, it's just in that account, right?
Right, it's in the
Fund balance account, if you want to
0
name, put a
to
name on it.
30,
Yeah,
yeah. So just, and then you gotta do the permissive referendum and all that fun stuff again.
yeah, we gotta,
You mean
Which
if
we
we
gotta
wipe
do-
out the capital?
which we gotta do after the first of the year.
In order to use reserve funds.
Oh, in order to-
Right. We gotta do the 30-day,
Mhm.
publicize it, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But this is, the reserve fund was set up for this, we already did that whole.
We might not have to.
You might not
do
have to,
this.
because we already did that whole thing to set this fund up for a snowplow truck.
Right.
Mhm.
So I don't think we have to do that.
Okay,
We played that game already.
yeah.
We did it pretty.
You're
Alright,
gonna cheat off
Got it.
my paper.
Yeah, let's move on. Let's see.
Yep.
Machinery contract.
5130-400 is my parts line.
Yep.
Which is right on the money.
Good.
Tires, which, I mean, what's that?
No, go ahead.
What'd you say?
He said brush and weed.
Oh, Russian weed line. We haven't gotten there. Tires.
I'm not sure if that's the right
it's-
number, but I think.
I don't think it's changing any.
Okay.
We're not putting greater
Well,
tires
one,
on.
one set of tires and you're there.
Oh, yeah. Easily.
Yeah,
So you're in good shape right
But
now.
we're in good shape right now.
yeah.
So, machinery oil, that went up, cause everything obviously is going up. And what I didn't count on was the amount of DEF fluid that these lovely trucks are going through. And now we have a second one coming,
What food?
the
DEF.
DEF, the exhaust fluid for, that the government says we have to burn now to have clean engines.
Oh,
We go through about a 55-gallon drum every month and a half at $200 a drum.
good grief.
That's between the grader and the dump truck. Now we're getting a second dump truck next year. So that's some of the other $2,000 I added in there.
That's in with the oil?
That's, I take it out with machinery oil.
Okay.
That's where
Plus
that's
DEF.
coming out. Tools, that's just a, shop tools, replacement of snow removal gas.
Yeah.
I dropped it down some because hopefully things keep going the way they are.
When was you just got a new bill?
Yep,
That was for,
September.
so
I,
you
and
got,
I split that DA and DB,
mm-hmm,
so my computer would wake up.
that's when we always start seeing where, yeah.
Right. This is DA line.
Do you have all your sand?
Yes, sand is in. Um, Hamilton County Fuel. So, DA is right now 10,300 left in it to get through the year. Last winter we were burning about $4,500 a month.
So you got 3 months
Dead of winter.
left.
So we got 3 months left. If you take half of that, because it's not, the trucks aren't going out
Still
every
got
day.
18. I'm sorry, still have 9.
You had,
Figured 9 for December. 4,500, I'm sorry, for December.
yeah, 45 for that and probably,
45 for the other 2.
yeah,
together. So that'd be looking at 9,000.
9,000.
9,000, so we're only $1,000 ahead of the game there. So
What rate is that? Do you have that right there?
rate,
Yeah.
That
I can
fluctuates.
figure it out. We paid just
If you don't have it right there, don't figure it out.
Doesn't that
It
fluctuate?
fluctuates.
1,500 gallons. We paid $3,500 for it. So 30.
It's less than Mountain Market.
84 divided by 14.95. That's not right. 14.95 gallons divided by 35.84. Can't be right.
How many
Take the number,
gallons?
1,500 gallons, say,
Okay.
14.96,
So what'd you pay?
35.84.
3584.
So if you take 35.84 divided by 14.95, it should be the number, right?
To what?
239, 240?
Yeah, okay, that's what I got. So yeah, it's a lot cheaper than Mountain Market. $2.40 a gallon.
But that is subject to go up.
Now you wanna know what we were paying last January?
Mm-hmm.
47.33 divided by 1977.
218.
239. So it went up 1 penny
Wow.
over the course of the year.
That's it.
Yeah, where's it all gonna end, you know?
So it stayed up, even though
I think we
everything
got
went
ripped off.
down. Yeah.
Well, because the
Not sure.
taxes and
I'm not
all
sure.
that stuff, they don't
Yeah.
pay. So that's what's going on.
Do we have to pay taxes on
Mario, not gonna be happy with
Where are we at now?
You
the
get
gas?
sand.
So you're
Sand is
okay,
in,
you're okay with the gas at 25?
yeah. Sand is in, I brought that number up, cause I expect that the cost of sand is gonna start rising again. Is, huh?
It's been there
Christmas
for,
gifts.
it's been in there for 1 billion years. Why should it be going up?
Yeah, cause it costs more to take it out now. He had paid, I know it's gonna go up this year because he paid a contractor rather than doing it himself. To come in and mine it, screen it, stack it, everything. So it's an outside contract. So you know it's gonna go up. I've seen it in his regular material costs. So,
That's $700.25 for salt. Is that for building salt?
'tis. That is our rock salt out here
Okay.
that we're
shouldn't
using
go
at
under-
all the buildings, so,
We shouldn't go under buildings?
well,
I guess it doesn't matter if it's under DA or A, but it's same tax base.
right, that's what I was.
How much you got left?
0. We're going down this tomorrow to get another pallet load, which will be another $700. Because what we do with the excess, so it doesn't hard like a brick, is we put it as dust control on Gilmantown Road.
Oh, so then it should be on there. It actually should be.
Right.
Okay,
He's happy I'm not in the office anymore.
You think?
Personal snow, state snow, that should be the same number.
same as on the other page.
Yep. And all the rest of those numbers I don't play with. Drug and alcohol screening. When we get the bills, we have probably going to go over, if not right at that number, because every time we have a new employee come in, we do a pre-screening. So we've gotten billed once that, and I know we've hired at least 3 more people since
I was
then.
gonna say, isn't it?
So there's $225 more coming.
Yep.
So we're gonna be just over, but I'm hoping next year we're only gonna hire 2. By the time we get the bill, we'll get the bill for the dump and the garbage truck driver next year. Hopefully that's all we replace.
Malcolm,
Nope. We got 1 more year.
Oh,
good,
Thank
good
goodness.
for us.
Mm-hmm.
one more
But
year,
it might be January of the following year.
2020.
Yeah.
Moving right along.
Moving right along. DB.
Well, wait a minute, where are you gonna put the brush and weed, or doesn't it matter?
Oh yeah,
at this
brush and
point?
weeds gotta go in there.
5120.4.
Yeah.
$3,000.
5120.4, you said?
Mhm.
So you haven't chipped since 2015?
But I'm not sure
My
if
first
that's
year
the
here.
number, but it's somewhere around.
We didn't do it
Close enough.
last year, which was 17. We did it the year before,
But I
so
remember you
16.
talking about it a year ago, but it
16 we
never
did
got
it.
done, right?
We ground it in 16.
Okay.
It took me that long to get them to let me. Remember, we got into a little debacle where they told us no more burning, and then
Yeah,
Yeah.
we kept collecting for years.
Right.
And then I had this mountain over
I
there.
remember it, yeah.
You got a pretty good mountain there now.
There's a really good mountain there now.
Mhm.
And after 2
And I
years,
haven't been there.
so as soon as that road hardens up in the spring, we're going to be having them come in there.
If they let you.
What?
Well, I guess that would.
Well, I have a
come to
permit to
May.
set that. Yeah, I have a
Yeah.
permit that says I can go in there and grind it down. So
Okay, grind it, okay.
yeah, we grind it. We don't burn it anymore.
can't burn anymore.
Can't burn anymore.
Before we move on to revenues,
Mm-hmm.
we're saving $38,000 on health insurance this year.
Well,
Do we wanna put a portion of that into starting an equipment reserve fund? Anybody
that would be in
interested doing that?
DB, right?
It depends on what kind of equipment you're looking at.
It's the grader, right?
No, no,
No.
Oh, no, you're gonna be looking,
Backhoe.
you're gonna be looking at a new backhoe, that's what it was.
no. The backhoe is the loader is
Or the
next.
loader.
Where's my?
Loader?
Hold on. Where's my
Big
equipment
yellow
schedule?
Tonka thing.
The closest, the things that are coming up next on the equipment schedule. 2 years from now, we have 212 replaced, which will be 11 years old at that time. That's the little mini dump truck.
Itty bitty.
Clay just got.
But that's the truck reserve fund, right?
Right, that should be a truck.
Right.
He just running.
I'm just running down a list of my
All right,
things here. The next thing that's within 2 years is the garbage truck. That's another totally different fund.
right.
That will be 13 years old in 2 years.
But there's some money, grant money for that.
There's, if we go to recycling one source. If it's not, then that grant that I tried for is only for recycling trucks, which that's how the places are getting away with a garbage truck being replaced on a grant,
Yeah.
is they collect the recyclables in that. Then it's 75% paid for by the state, which is great, but we don't do that right now, so I can't file that.
We're getting there.
I know. That's why I'm excited about Tracy not doing that yet. So the backhoe, which is $220, we have 4 years for it. And that would make it 15 years old. The loader, in 3 years, will be 15 years old. Now,
Yeah,
Okay, so that's one thing. The other thing I think we need to talk about is this.
oh, we haven't gotten to that yet.
Oh, we haven't, okay.
what's that?
Just making sure.
That is the grade and step scale that I brought up at the town board meeting.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like the Super Bowl squares.
Oh, I have a very nice electronic version of that. It's form fillable too. So as far as DB, I believe any equipment lines would be in DB for backhoes, loaders. That's all summertime stuff.
Okay.
212 is the truck, that's in the truck fund, and 220
What you meant by equipment?
The loader,
Backhoes and-
yeah.
loaders.
And,
The loader use winter for sand and loading.
Summertime is loading all the gravel and so
Yeah.
on and so forth, so the loader's kinda, no, actually in the wintertime, we don't use that because we get the county loader.
I was
Oh.
gonna say, don't,
Yeah, we don't put our loader in the salt shed,
Good.
so the county's been donating since we sold our last one.
Yep.
That we killed in the salt shed, the county brings theirs to us.
It's the
Good.
counties go through anyway for the
Yeah.
salt.
But 222 is a 222. Oh yeah, that's not any. That's the water truck. No, that's 224. 222. 222. Tractor. Either way, I don't think we're gonna set up a fund for it.
okay.
Those are the 212 and the garbage truck are the high items, and then the loader after that, and that's in 4 years. Now, the loader is 110,000 probably. Arietta just bought one, I think they paid 110 for it.
Cheap.
Yeah.
You talk about 212, how much?
212, Clay they're ordering theirs in January, the same identical truck that we have. That was 75,000, but we don't need a box. So you can take, Clay's was 15,000, so you're looking at 60,000 today for that.
So
2
you're
years from
looking at
now,
70.
70 probably for that. Garbage truck, my quoted price was 160 this past winter when I was doing the grant stuff for a garbage truck. I'm hoping we can wait until we get that. If he
You've got
gets
some
into this
170.
one source, then I can apply for the grant again. And it might not be thrown out so far.
And that's 75% of that?
I believe that was 75%
Okay.
grant, so. As far as equipment funds, DB would be the one to put it in,
And
I think.
can we use chips for some of that, or?
Well, that depends on roads. Right now, we have 3 miles of paved roads that I can file for chips in the next oodles of years. Page Street was paved in 2010, so that was the last full paving job, so that can't be touched until 2020 minimal on any CHIPS money. So what I'm saying is we're getting our roads in good enough shape that we're gonna have to start using the CHIPS money for equipment money. Which is a plus. It means the new hot mix paving is working. It's making the roads last longer. But let's see how the state comes with money. you can't touch a road, so like I said, I have Old Indian Lake Road, Page Hill Road, and the first mile of Hamilton Lake Road that
Mhm.
we can use CHIPS money on. So if I do one of them a year, that's half of my CHIPS money right there
Yeah.
for the next 3 years. So yeah, there's some CHIPS money that can be, like we're doing now with the truck next year's, 54,000 of it's of the 86 CHIPS.
Mhm.
Just doesn't.
Maybe this will be the year to put some of that money into an equipment.
Well, 19, we're already putting 54 CHIPS money into it. That's, I don't know. I hate to throw a number out there. I don't know what you wanna, where you wanna start with it, with equipment funds.
So maybe we wanna come back to it after we finish reviewing the highway budget.
And
Right.
see where we are
Yeah,
budget-wise.
Wise,
exactly.
the big number,
Yeah.
right?
And I'm
We
not
don't
saying
need
we
to throw
gotta
any,
put 50,000 in, I'm saying,
Right.
let's just get a fund started,
right.
you know,
Which,
5,000.
and I agree 100%, anything that's better than nothing.
So what's your paving plan for 2019?
Paving plan for 2019, the old Indian Lake Road, or no, Old Page Hill Road
And what's that?
is a resurface,
That's about 3/4 of a mile or
half a mile,
half mile?
yeah. That is 60, hold on. That will be quoted, come on, what do you mean I don't have a network? I'm in the library. I believe it's 54,000, half a mile. But I will tell you that in a second here. Then the other project is the 700 feet of the upper part of Longview, which cannot be under CHIPS money because Leo put a top on it, hoping it would fix it, and it didn't. So that was 2013, so we can't use CHIPS money on that for another 10 years after that, so
you're gonna do the
2023.
top
The
seven-
top 700 feet, not the
Right.
parking lot at the top, 700 feet of hill, we're gonna dig out 2 feet deep and take all the sand and muck and mud and stumps that are more than likely in there and take that out and put gravel in, base it, and then put a top on it the following year.
So you just leave it for a year.
Right, we're not leaving it as stone, we're just gonna put a base down on it next year. We're gonna do the construction part of it in the spring.
Okay.
And then in the fall, this time of year, we're gonna put the top on it, or the base on it. Let that do its settling and doing whatever,
So what do
and
you,
then put the
what
top
do you
on
use
it.
for that? Is that larger stone? number
Yeah,
twos?
it's got twos and, it's called a binder, it's got a
Yeah,
different
I know.
emulsion in it and all that, but it's rough
Yep,
to be driving on.
yep.
It's,
I got that in my driveway, you know about that.
okay. So. Attached for budget numbers, chip seal, no.
Is anything exciting?
No, unfortunately. No hunting stores. or
650
fishing
feet of type 3 binder comes to $22,300 for 700 feet of that. The road over here that I was saying is hot next full page. It's $69,665 to top that half, 2,800 feet, so it's a half mile.
It's up 70,000. So then you're basically looking for 92,000 plus your 54,
54.
right?
Yep.
We all on the same page.
I believe that's the number I came up with.
So that's 100. It's 146.
Yep, and I put in for the paving What did I
So
put in?
say 150, that would leave you 60 roughly.
Chips. I put in,
210.
yeah, but that has 40,000 for Hamilton Lake Road, chip seal. Figured in
You
there
didn't
also.
tell me that one.
Well, I had it as a separate line, and it seems to hit this budget as one line.
Here we go again.
Okay, so,
I had it as a separate line, but it's in here.
so then-
Hamilton Lake Road, the dirt part, I wanted to chip seal the top of it.
so you're talking roughly 20,000 hung out,
Yeah,
possibly.
possibly. If all these numbers come out.
Right, so,
The line should be set up, just a minute, you'll see it in the next report.
Okay,
okay,
thank you.
all right. Sorry.
So whether or not we want it, the big number thing is, in this discussion is, whether or not we want, you would agree with me that we need to put a chip seal on top of Hamilton Lake Road. That is what they did on the backside of, so everybody knows what it is, if they've been around the backside of Pasica Lake. That 3 mile project that they did last year, that is a double chip seal, that is what we're talking. That's what we were trying to get, we were trying to get over to Moffitt's Beach, but we haven't gotten that far.
This is the mile of Hamilton Lake Road that's already paved.
No, this is the dirt part,
This is a dirt part.
the dirt part, putting, not quote unquote blacktop, but it's a double chip seal to,
How much money did you spend in there this year so far?
how much money did we
Culvert,
spend?
stone,
No culverts, we did culverts last year.
that was 617.
Hold on, I can give you the exact dollars that I spent.
I mean, it looks pretty good right now, I just drove it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Is it washboardy? Good. Then what I did is working. Chips, chips, chips,
Don't need
chips.
any chip seals.
They've been busy back there this year. I don't mean the highway guys, I mean Hamilton Lake.
Put it under chips, paving aggregate.
I saw, that moose I saw,
Oh,
a couple days later, the track showed up.
So we have
Cherry
put
Beach.
this year,
where'd you see the moose? By your house?
Oh, Tanner's
On
house.
Tanner's driveway.
Jeez.
in
They hide behind-
July, we put $4,700 worth of ones and dust on that road. Plus probably 3,000 more that we had in inventory. Because I inventoried $6,000 worth of it last year, they
So you
had,
spent 10 grand.
yeah, probably 10 grand on that road this year. Getting it, now there's no quote unquote complaints, whining, mud. The year before that, we had mud like you wouldn't believe over there.
But you've got it bound up pretty good now.
Now, I agree that,
That should be good
without
for
a doubt.
spring, right?
Huh?
Should be good for this coming spring.
Yes, it should definitely be good for this coming spring. And the culverts were done 2 years ago so that we don't have to dig up the road to, if we wanted to do, go forth with this. You know, start with your foundation of your house and work up.
So the culvert's good for another 15 years.
I'll give it 10. Okay. It's up, I mean, I'm leaving this one up to the board. I put it in the budget, this, I feel
Well-
it should be done, but I don't wanna, burden the taxpayers with,
Well, the reality is, they're a large taxpayer.
correct, they are.
But we just bought a $185,000 grader to take care of that road.
Well, one
Which
of
is
the-
correct.
And they don't really care whether it's paved or not. They said the town's doing a good job maintaining the road. I understand the employees would like to see it paved because they're in and out of there more than management is.
Correct.
But management really doesn't care.
If they did, they would come to the,
They would voice their opinions more often. I mean, I've only talked to, Tanner.
Yeah.
And, she I shouldn't have to ask for my road to be paved, is her answer. In which I agree, it's a town road, it's not her, it is what it is, as long as she can get in and out and there's no issues with fire and ambulance, she's happy.
It's a lot better than a lot of the other.
How long will the gravel last before we have to keep putting more money into it? Year, maybe 2, and we'll be back putting, $10,000 into it. Will the chip seal cut that down? Yes, but it's not a cure-all.
Right.
As far as the employees go, coming to the board meeting and such,
I know,
it is what it is. I mean, I'm doing trying.
I'm sure if I drove in out of there every day, I'd like to see it paved too, but
I'm just trying to throw it out there that if it's possible, that's where 40,000 of that 210
What would
is.
you rather have, an equipment reserve fund or chip seal for Hamilton Lake Road?
That is a very bad question.
I'm putting you on the spot because I think you
question.
can probably have one or the other this
Each one
year.
is toy, so you can.
Right. We
And we did
took it out
spend-
last year. I had a full project, a 3-year project that we
Yeah.
put in there.
Yeah, like 70 grand in there or something.
Right.
but
That
more
was-
than that,
It was a lot more than that because it was like
110.
110, 20, something like
Yeah.
that for a 3-year project. That was a full reclamation, dig down, take everything out, gravel, except for the culverts that I already done, and just build a road. Now that we're kind of moving on with this, I put the gravel in now. So, every year we're getting it more and more ready, and it's becoming better and better. As you just stated, it's not even washboardy at this point. To answer your question, and it's 2 totally different subjects.
It
I
is,
mean,
but
it really
I
is.
understand that.
It's,
but
it's,
He must be a
Wants
politician.
it's 2 totally different subjects.
uh,
Do you keep
which one do you feel is more
They're
important?
spoiled.
Let's put it that way.
Depends on who you are.
right? I don't travel that road. The only time I travel that road is to check on it and cut trees out of it. They pay a lot of money, and they're not screaming and yelling as far as management goes. So
then management feels the town's doing a good job of maintaining the road.
then put it into equipment funds so we can maintain it better. Like you said, we just bought a $180,000 plus
Yeah,
grader.
yeah.
I think if we keep going the way we are with the stone and stuff, we can keep them happy.
Okay.
Are you gonna keep everybody happy this way? No.
No, well,
You're
we can't
gonna-
keep everybody happy.
Right, you're gonna have people that want paved roads. Do we get more money from chips? It's so minor that it's not funny.
Mhm.
Why don't we sell the road to IEP?
Because then you're gonna lose 3 miles of chips money. Which is only $10,000 or so, probably,
Well, how much would they pay the town for the road? And then they could.
But-
probably nothing.
But what we get in CHIPS money will help will maintain that road.
Right. You take 26,
If
we get 87,000 from chips, divide that by 26 miles,
Yeah.
multiply that number by 3, that's what we get from chips every year for that road.
which should be enough to keep it in the condition it's in now, right?
We get $9,923 from chips from the state every year, which is basically what I just said, put in that road this year.
You spend 10.
We
You
spent-
say per mile, 9,923 per mile?
No, for that road,
For that road.
Oh, for that road.
which is
okay.
3 miles long.
Okay.
So if that road was paved, you couldn't repave it for 10 years.
Correct.
Chips money. But as far as gravel's concerned, you can put as much gravel in there every year as you
Correct.
want and get chips money for it.
Correct. Because
Sure.
gravel
Logic would make
gravel
sense.
gravel is a usable expense. They know it doesn't stay there. If you now they just moved what's called chip sealing onto that list of so now it's like paving. So what we did on Golf Course Road and Sacandaga Estates, I can't do anything to those roads for 10 more years now and claim it under chips. That is new this year. They used to call that maintenance. Now it's not. Now it's called a surface treatment. So gravel is still called maintenance. So that is not qualified for
this year.
that 10-year ordeal. So you can keep stuffing gravel into a dirt road all you want and claim it. As long as you don't check that you did, it's a final treatment of the road on that box on the form. If you
Okay.
check that lovely box like Arietta did a couple years back because they didn't understand the process, then they were done. They dug up a road, gravelled it, and checked final. They thought it was final for the year. No, when you check that box, it's final for 10 years. They got in a little trouble with that.
So you think an equipment reserve or equipment for in there,
Mm-hmm.
DB?
I am not gonna say no.
Of course
The board is willing to put it in there. I think it's a great idea because eventually we're gonna be back at where we started with all this equipment.
Exactly.
And I hate the word ban.
Mhm.
I hate the word interest.
If we had the amount of interest that we paid to buy equipment over the last 10 years, you could pave several Hamilton Lake roads.
Correct.
So
So
this is where I'm headed.
30,000?
Yeah. If you want
I'm
to.
just throwing a number out to
Mhm.
talk about.
Yeah, the next thing is gonna be the loader probably, as far as equipment. And if that's 5 years at 30,000, that will put that loader at 2006. 5 years from now is 23, so that's 17 years old. That's 2 years over what I expect it to last, but we'll make it last. Because we're not putting it in the salt shed, as long as the county keeps giving us a loader. Our last one was in '84, we got rid of it in 2000 and, when did we get rid of that? 18? So that was, no, this was
17.
18.
2017, what? 2 years ago.
So 2 years, so say 15 and 16, it was 30 years old, the last one,
Yeah.
the '84.
They don't build them like that anymore. though.
No, they do not, these are all electronic.
So if we, how much of that 210 was Hamilton Lake Road?
40,000.
40.
So that would put it back to the 170?
170, and I think you figured 160 in all those numbers.
92, 54, 146. What was in the 92? That was the 22 and
69,
and so I just rounded to 70.
okay.
So
That's 90.
20 So that's 92, and then you had the 54.
Right.
So that's 146.
So you wanna make that 160
So
to make it at,
well, even if you went to 150, that leaves you 60, or if you go to 150 or 160, it leaves you 50.
right,
So
I would say
that gives
160.
you more to play with, because
yeah,
these
I
are
go
round
160, cause
numbers,
I don't
not
know
real
what
numbers.
oil prices and numbers and paving go into
That
next
gives
year.
you 10,000 to play with.
Right.
So if you say 50 for the fund,
Well, you could even put it 30 at the fund,
well, that's what I originally said.
right? Go 30 at the fund and it'll take some of the numbers off the budget. Put it at 160, the paving,
All right, when you're saying put it at 160, you're talking about
200,
5112.200?
correct.
Yeah,
You put that at 160.
Okay.
and then do 5130,
Is that title right on that?
wow,
CHIPS programming,
CHIPS program dot equipment?
yep, because that is rental equipment for the paving company. That's how we
Okay.
pay for our blacktop.
I always wondered why it was a 200, because that isn't equipment.
No. So that's the
So-
numbers I don't get into.
Right, so if there's a reserve then set up for an equipment reserve, your machinery equipment line, the 5130.2, that's what you wanna put towards the truck, right? The new truck?
That would change it to 30.
No, whoa.
We have 100, whatever it was,
In
coming
DA.
out of DA.
Yep. CHIPS
Hundreds.
money.
Right, and then the 24,047, is that the balance of the truck?
No,
I thought that
that's
was
the grader.
Grader.
That's the
Yeah.
grader.
Wh-
That's a
Which
grader-
has to
grader
be put in
payment.
a new H fund.
That's the greater payment.
Yeah.
That's the grader payment.
Oh,
No.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Remember that one?
Remember that?
yeah, but I'm just wondering, does that go, well, it might not go right there, but. So, where do you wanna get your truck from then?
From the CHIPS line.
Okay, so the 160,
I'm
that's
filing
what
it.
Bob was figuring,
Yeah, that was a
okay.
50
I
that was a
lost
54.
something in
Yeah, sorry.
translation there.
So I'm
So I
gonna,
had 70
so
and
basically,
40.
I'm gonna have $110,000 in there, plus or minus, to pave with next year out of the CHIPS money.
Okay,
Which we just showed 90,000, 92
92,000.
is accounted for. Now,
Mhm.
anything that happens to a road between now and the end of next year, if we have a washout, anything else that needs to be repaved,
there might be. a
that's
problem.
not figured in my plans.
Right,
Mhm.
of course,
So,
contingent.
So, but then you wanna do an equipment reserve for, so it would be DB 5130.201, equipment reserve?
sure. And that's gonna be 30,000. Unless you guys,
Is that 5130.201?
Of 30,000. Now that means we just dropped the whole budget by 20,000. Which is almost your greater pay.
Almost.
I'm just trying to think, if we're raising the money, that's for a payment towards the greater what we owe.
10 years of that.
Okay, so,
I have a note here. Should that be moved to an H fund?
yeah,
Correct.
but it's accounted for in the H fund, but it's raised in the DB fund, but I'm trying to think. Like is in DA, where we have BAN backhoe principal, BAN backhoe interest. It should be done the same way, but it's not a BAN in DB. Do you know what I mean? Break it out to principal and
And
interest.
interest.
Yeah.
So you're gonna add a line we can rename.
It would be greater,
Right.
Payment.
Payback.
principal,
Principal
and then
Greater-
greater
interest.
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 Right.
And I'm not sure if that 9070, or 9730 is just for BAN, or if that's,
Available.
yeah, if that's just a payment line.
So we have to find that out.
Yeah,
That's,
so that would have to be broken out, and I don't know what the principal and interest is on that,
I
but,
got that. It's right there. You want it?
so
no.
who takes the action on that? Is that your action?
To set those up?
Yeah,
So,
I'll get it done
okay.
with,
Because I don't know what numbers it gets rubbed into.
Yeah, I
check
would,
with
I have
The-
no
Kathy.
idea.
yeah, it would be probably, just for one of something else, 9730 point
Something or other.
something,
But you're pretty sure it's gonna be a 97 number?
I think so, it's gonna be around
So
there.
it is in DA.
Yeah,
Right.
it's for, but that's for
But that's
BAN,
for
so I'm not
right.
sure if
Right.
it's.
Okay.
It's gotta be somewhere in the 9730s,
Right,
right?
right. Or 9,000 something. That should be in
So there's
that.
nothing else there that you deal with, right, Randy, on that page?
yes. So, going back up, we skipped over a whole bunch of stuff.
Good.
Personal services, 2%. That's we've already discussed that. The next line down is gravel, which we're gonna use a boatload on Longview and, the rest of the dirt roads.
What page are you on?
Page 19.
Just
Just
above
one
where
more
the
page.
19, okay. Thank you.
Dust control, we did not use any of it this year. So that's $4,000 into your fund balance. But I'm keeping it there, cause I don't know how dry the summer's gonna get and
Dusty.
when, so on and so forth. We were this close to having to do Hamilton Lake Road this year, but it
Yeah,
started,
rained
it
for a month.
finally started raining for a
Right.
month and a half
Yeah.
straight. Gas and so on, the same. Culverts, that's the one I asked you to change the culverts, that miscellaneous one.
Used to be a line
5110.404 miscellaneous, that's the line I use for culverts, and I think I had asked you to
We were
change
gonna
that.
change it to general repairs dot culvert.
Correct.
Right, Kathy should have done that.
Okay, but I cut it down, right now it's doing well with culvert, inventory, so I don't foresee any large ones yet that need to be changed. They don't get expensive until you get over the 4-foot mark. The rental equipment down below there, 2,500 did not use. We are going to use it on Longview next year, probably for that 2-month period. So there goes your net gain.
That's an excavator?
Yes. For digging up Longview,
What are you gonna do with Longview?
700 feet complete rebuild
Mm.
on the top.
Ladies.
Remember to keep the emergency brake.
So that's, you see that we didn't use any, but I put in 2 months worth of rental there. Chips payroll, no increase there. This number is not accurate. We have used that payroll.
Mhm.
I don't know if she didn't put it under it or what.
No, you know what happened?
But I know that number's not right. The
Because-
zero number
You're
is not
waiting
right.
for me to explain. The point, everything used to be under .2 for chips, and we broke it out to payroll,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not sure if everybody's timesheet got broken out to 100. You know what
Oh.
I mean? So she can go back in and do just
So we
a
gotta
correction.
get the timesheets. Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know, because the timesheets where they write their time in and what they were
No, but I
doing.
mean the timesheet on the computer also, cause each
Oh.
person, so if it was
Comes out of the right.
programmed.
So it comes out of the right
Yeah.
account.
If
And I
it-
know that the guys put down, because they asked me, are we doing chips when we did our paving?
Mm-hmm.
So I know that number, they were asking, they put it down under their chips line.
But it might say on that timesheet .200, and it
Alright.
might have been picked up that way.
Okay.
But that's easy enough, because if
We
you
can just
look
move
at the
lines.
.200, it'll say,
Okay. It's not gonna affect the end of the game here.
So then the 136 might go down. It'll just be, mix up.
Right.
You know,
Right,
so it might be 130 and 6,000 above it.
right.
Gotcha.
End of the day, there might be some of that going into fund balance also. Some, right, some.
Some.
don't get carried away this time, so.
Yeah. We discussed the next 2 lines. We made up a third one in between, and then you're on state retirement. Workman's comp.
She did fix that payroll.
She did.
When?
On October
Oh, okay.
3rd. I'm trying to figure out, the balance says that there's 2,954.80. How much was budgeted? That's not right. Yeah, so she used about half of that payroll.
Okay.
Yeah, she fixed that.
So it's less than 3,000.
So the H
You
fund,
good?
Mm-hmm.
that's only to keep track, that's only an accounting thing, that's not budgetary, so it's not to do anything to the budget, it's just to show what you're paying off, because it's money that you borrowed, or a project that you got grants for, or something like that, that's what you count in the H fund. So that's just more of an accounting thing than
Right.
budgetary.
Budgetary.
Are we up to SR?
Quick question though, as going down through here, where did I go? L,
Uh-huh.
L. And we have some L money left over here for, let me just see that. Oh. For the capital expansion project?
Your money left over.
Or this, so you're saying this H is only a memo entry?
Yeah. That's how much was used.
So H16, Special Projects Fund, 5,500 we give, state aid 21,000. I don't know why those numbers are in there for 2018.
Because that's money that came in then. And that's money that got paid out. So there probably is still some, but I'm not sure if everything's been paid or everything's done. I'm not sure if it's 100% done or
Probably should be, right?
not. Close.
Do you know, Dan?
Haven't heard. Although something tells me that there's still some stuff upstairs that needs to be done.
Yeah, and I don't know if there were bills for, Mike?
Fisher?
Yeah, his brother is Mark, I keep doing that. I know he did work in the kitchen, put up the cabinets and different things in there, the kitchen, you know, the workroom there. So I'm not sure if that's been paid yet.
Well, we got Fund H16 Library Expansion, we got $4,800 sitting in there.
Uh-huh. So if there, that, I'm sure Richie could answer that, that's all, money that's earmarked for something. Bricks, maybe, if bricks money can, you know, to do cause still have to do the brick walkway out there.
Should be done this week.
Is it? Oh, cool.
That's why we
Okay.
prepped it for today.
Yeah.
Cool.
But we heard the installer may have had a bad mishap.
Oh.
Achilles tendon,
Who's the installer?
Jeff Jordan.
Yeah.
I heard that this weekend that he's might be incapacitated for a while, but I
Oh,
haven't,
boy.
wasn't told not to prep it out here for him, so it's ready to go if he is able. Is he around?
He's walking.
Okay.
Yeah, so that-
Whether or not he can get on his hands and knees and lay stone,
Yeah,
that's.
That, yeah, so I don't know what else has to be. That's, like I said, that's a Richie question, cause he gets me dizzy when he starts talking about it at meetings. You know, this is coming in, that's going out, this is DASNY, this is this is, you know, so.
Are we all set on the library now? From last week's meeting?
Are we giving them the additional money that they asked for?
We didn't decide
We
that.
didn't,
No, we didn't.
we didn't talk any further.
I think we should plug it in and then see how we end up and discuss it if we need to.
Okay.
That's my personal opinion.
We're plugging in a lot for Randy, I think we can plug in a little for the library.
Library?
Well, it depends on how we,
Well, based on the budget number of what, 85?
What was that, 0.3 tenths?
Yeah, point
Point
three.
3.9% increase
Yeah,
in the tax levy, based on this year's tax levy.
But you got, there's $26,000. You know, which is like 10 grand over 20%.
but
Just saying.
the library board has jurisdiction over that, not the town.
Really?
Yeah, state ed law.
It's like this?
Mm-hmm.
What 26,000, are you talking
He's talking about fund balance.
Fund balance is 26,000
Oh,
projected at the end of the year.
yes, okay.
Yeah.
So what'd you say? So I don't understand.
The George Sengenberger really let everybody know this years ago, he researched it, that the state education department oversees libraries, and that supersedes town law as far as libraries go. So the library board of trustees decides if money can be used for fund balance from their
budget,
budget.
that's true.
So whatever
I
number they
wouldn't
give you,
lie.
whatever number they give you, you have to fund it?
No.
No.
No,
No,
if that money's there, they have jurisdiction.
Once it's there, it's theirs. Property to spend.
So we just give them
Less.
less?
And then they'd have to use their fund balance.
That's it,
Exactly.
that's,
That's,
yeah.
Only if you have something against this building, which is being utilized
on.
dramatically more than it has been in the past.
A penny is a penny is a penny.
Wow.
Well, what I'm looking at is a tentative budget of expenses of $85,836. So 20% of that would be about 17,000. So they're way over the 20% in the fund balance. You know, that's recommended by the state comptroller.
I'm
That's
not
all I'm
sure
thinking.
if that
Like
goes for
$7 or
libraries.
$8,000
and stuff.
or
Mhm.
whatever the number is. Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Good point.
but they may not know that that's the situation either.
Right, and I'm not sure if that might be the comptrollers, but it might not be state ed. I don't know. I have no idea about that. I'm just a true believer in this library, and I hate to see us nitpick the library when we don't for other funds in any way.
Oh,
We're not we're nitpicking everything, really.
Ah, not so sure.
How come the library never set up so that it could be its own taxing entity?
Oh.
I mean, why are we going through the town, do you know?
Yeah, because it was discussed at one point, but it was shortly after the school
Mm-hmm.
issues,
Mm-hmm.
and it was discussed to possibly do that, and we figured that the town was so negative towards the school that the library would have suffered doing it
Oh,
that
the
way.
town voted for the school, the new school.
Oh, just barely. You know what I mean? It was a very
Well, I wonder if
divided.
it's something the library board might wanna think about now, is becoming their own tax
A
entity and.
freestanding. There's 3 different types of libraries. There's an school library, where it's not in the building, it's just funded through school taxes. One is
Mhm.
funded through town taxes, and then the other's a freestanding. So,
Well, it wouldn't be funded through school taxes, although the school would do the billing for it, right? It would be on
right,
the
but it
school
would be on
ballot
the
as a
school
separate,
tax bill,
right.
so,
Separate item on the school tax bill.
yeah.
People would vote on it, just like they do the school budget, they vote on the library budget.
Sure.
And that's why I'm all about getting things standing on their own.
Well, please come
Yeah.
to a library board meeting and talk about it.
Be glad to.
Yeah.
I'd like to see the firemen set up their own board of commissioners and go that route, you know? Then they'll have complete control over everything, and we're not in the middle.
Right.
And curious as to why that was never done, but that was so many years ago, I'll never get the answer to that. Do you know, Andy?
No, we were established in 45.
Yeah, it's just way too far ago to know.
But
Yeah.
now we're on the fire department, is why I came down here. Can I just interrupt real quick? It bothered me where the $50,000 came from. When we bought our truck,
Last year.
last year, when we went to the loan, which is a 2%, it was a grant for 50,000, and we took a loan out for 250, so it was $300,000.
Yeah, so your liabilities went way up.
So it was a 50,000 grant from USDA, $250,000.
Okay, it's part of that transaction.
It's the whole thing.
Okay.
So it bothered me, so I was like, I know it's there, I just couldn't figure out where. We were on our way home, we were just like, got $50,000. That was where it is. So, yeah, we might get another one, but it's gonna be in another 10, 13 years.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Yeah.
SR,
Yep.
SR.
you're on, Randy.
Here we go again.
Adrian,
31. We got the votes. But we gotta go back.
We'll go
What?
back to.
What you
Back
brought
to the
up,
future?
the pay scales. We'll do that after we get the budget. Finish the budget here.
Oh, yeah, the step, ways and steps.
Yeah. Dumpster rentals. Don't really see any, I dropped it down because we're not putting them out there as much at this point,
it's working out fine, right?
which is fine and dandy. People taking the garbage to the dump themselves, perfect.
I did have somebody ask me if the, now that most of the summer people have left, is the dumpster gonna be back out 7 days a week? And I said I didn't know.
I discussed that with,
I don't believe we should,
my belief is no. We put a larger non-lockable lid out there in the wintertime normally, in the
Mhm.
past, I should say, because we don't have the bear problem.
Mhm.
The problem that now that we have everybody trained going back to the transfer station, AKA county building,
We wanna keep it that way.
I'd like to keep it that way.
Who empties the dumpster at the county?
We do,
Okay,
every Monday,
okay.
Thursdays in the summer, on our route.
What if they turn around and say, now we got this
People have to
huge
go to the
mess."
transfer station. It's where they're supposed to be going if they wanna do it on non,
You know.
or put it at the end of the driveway.
the people that I'm told coming by the transfer station to put it in the garbage in the dumpster.
Yeah,
Cause
like
it's
a no-brainer.
easier and there's no inspection.
Mhm.
That's the two processes.
You don't wanna untrain what's already been trained.
Right,
I
and
think
Well, that makes
that's
sense.
the discussion. I mean, yes, it'd be simpler, but, cause I don't have to pay somebody an hour overtime every week to put it out there Sunday morning. But you're training them and then take,
So should we sell our Bearproof dumpsters?
no, we have to put it out Sundays.
That's what we have to have out there.
Okay.
No. What the problem was is they were overloading the bearproof and leaving the lids up, and then it's no longer bearproof.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. So, back down to that, I don't see any more income in there, that's why it's down. Auto insurance is, they take a deduction out of the insurance on the next page for that,
That's for the garbage truck?
and part of it a recycling truck,
Oh, okay.
that pickup truck.
It's not a precise number, it's just.
No,
It's just there.
it's just a big
it's a
ballpark. I'm glad I didn't take a lot out of that one now. Garbage person, we did change out the guy riding in the back. But I was also expecting to be taking out the driver to a lesser pay, but now that's not gonna happen probably till springtime, so.
But that'll only be maybe, what, 3-4 months,
Right,
5 months?
yeah, 4 probably. It's staying up. I don't know if you wanna take a little bit more out of there, but
Good, well,
Don't take it down too much.
that won't change much, really.
He
No,
could
it's
change
not-
his mind more.
right,
Who knows?
if he changes his mind, then we're in trouble.
Yeah,
Next line, mine, 2%. Garbage equipment, that 3,000 fund balance. We didn't have to buy more bear-proof dumpsters.
Yep.
Simple as that, so we didn't spend it.
right.
So I don't expect to buy any more this year, so that stays at 0.
How many do we have? Just the one,
Bear-proof dumpsters, 2.
2?
One on the end of Oxbow Road and one at the, was it Town Garage. Then we have 4 6-yard dumpsters, 1 with lids, 3 without, and 1 4-yard dumpster with lids that we rent out.
And they're all in pretty good shape.
We just, the 1 6-yard we just got done rebuilding, so yeah, they're in good shape now. Garbage truck maintenance, and so on and so forth. That's just regular good old fashioned parts for the garbage truck and recycling truck.
Don't change.
It's running 3,000, 3,300, I mean, it's staying right there.
Right.
If you were to be inclined, I don't know what you would start out as for a garbage truck situation. If we're gonna bank on a grant, then you don't put much in it.
And it's a little bit of a gamble at this point, but I think it's gonna happen. If if the grant's 75%, that's a
Big number.
big number.
If, who knows, if they're trending to the 60/40s, but still that's a big number.
Yeah.
It's over half. So you wanna
What's the new one?
160,
$1.60?
yeah.
But a couple years, it's gonna be 170 probably, right?
Yep.
What town of Wells just pay?
I
You just got no one.
don't know, I know he did.
Speculator just got it.
Speculator did too.
Oh, yeah?
I can
Yeah.
give you,
Oh, yeah.
I can give you
Brakes on
what,
it?
Excuse me?
What's with the brakes on the speculator truck?
squeaking?
Yeah.
Because they don't have an engine brake on it. And they got them hot, and now it needs rotors, or not rotors, drums and brake shoes because they are glazed over. That's what happens when they get glazed over like that. They
It's
squeak.
been squeaking like for months now.
Yep, and it's gonna continue
Like right
on until they,
Okay, until they replace it.
yeah,
Yeah,
until
it's
a
not
drum,
gonna last.
yeah, it's not gonna last. The drum's either gonna crack or something, and after a while.
And then it's gonna just start the whole thing over again.
So when do you think you're gonna need that?
2 years from now, minimal.
Minimum.
We can
Could be
stretch,
3, 4.
could be. How many thousands of dollars of parts do you wanna put in it? I mean, if you have a transmission go or anything like that. It's
How many years you saying?
in 219. In 2 years, it will be 13 years old.
Well, let's use the 60/40, because that's more conservative, but
Mm-hmm.
Are you looking at,
put in 20,000 a year, 3 at 60 grand. You're looking at 64 for 3 years.
Which line are you on?
They're not.
There's not a
There's
lot.
not a line.
Yeah,
This
It's not
is,
a line. Thank
this
you.
is, this
Sure,
is
I
a,
can't find it.
this is a garbage truck. What do you wanna do about it?
garbage truck fund?
Discussion
Reserve.
at this point.
Oh, you're talking about
Reserve.
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 Yeah. Dis- Discussion.
Let's cut that library by 2,000, we'll give Randy and.
I didn't say, I'm just,
You wanna get rid of your garbage or read a book?
We go to the transfer station.
To read a book.
Well,
Yeah.
sure, that's an option, everybody could go to the transfer
We
station.
could even get
and
books
rid of-
there.
And get rid of the garbage truck.
Don't go there. You know, people have to live in this town, let's not ruin the quality of life here.
Well, no,
We're taking
just
away
say
the
that
street
because-
lights, we're taking away everything.
Because you complain about the 2,000 from the library, that's,
All right,
there's
moving on.
always,
yes.
Well, we saved 38,000 in health insurance.
yeah.
He got 30, so the library gets the rest,
There you
right?
go.
Wait a minute, whoa, no, we didn't.
Like
say-
Karen said, the
we
Yeah, we're
library.
not
didn't-
spending.
We
Didn't
didn't
spend it.
Yeah.
We didn't save it.
Like,
I don't know where.
Like Karen said,
I-
the library is a piece of the puzzle.
Yep,
There's a
Exactly.
lot of other pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah, but they're getting
A lot
funded
of
in
other
the
pieces to the
library.
puzzle.
Picked on.
Some other areas haven't gotten any increases in years that are pieces of the puzzle too.
What's that?
Like the
Historical Society for one thing,
Historical Society,
seniors,
The Historical Society isn't funded with the town.
the lake monitoring.
I mean the museum.
The lake monitor.
Yeah.
We're spraying those damn boats. Oh my
There's only
God.
3 assets up here.
That's
The
right.
lakes.
3. 2 lakes and a mountain.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's right. It may not be important to some people, but it's, a lot of these things are very important to a lot of other people, so.
No, I mean, it's important to me. We
They're
have a
all,
boat.
they're all important.
And we
to
enjoy
everybody.
the lake, but I'm just saying, it just drives me crazy because I can tell that there's an
And
underlying
these
dislike.
other areas haven't gotten any increases.
well, you wanna wait and see 2 years to see if the grant thing transpires?
Well, I think we ought to start putting some money away toward this, if we can,
Gotta make a stab, I think.
yeah.
I have a funny feeling that if you throw two of these reserves in there, what we picked out of this budget is gonna get blown away.
We're working on a tentative budget right now.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm just throwing it out there, and
yeah,
the realistic part of this, we haven't saved enough, I don't think, out of this to cut the budget.
No, we definitely haven't.
Well, we may have to go back and cut some of these down.
Right, I'm just throwing that, no, I mean, I don't,
no, we all understand.
I'm not naive to this whole thing of how much we can save and how much we're spending. And these budget lines are, you know, as you say, my lines are big,
Yeah.
Well, I understand that, and you're 2/3 of the budget.
right?
But do we wanna do another ban on a garbage truck?
I don't. As I read in some minutes in long time ago, Bob, you were also very opposed to interest saves us no money or something like that was stated in the minutes I was reading. I had to read from 1994 all the way till present, trying to
Sorry.
find something every minute, and it was not fun.
Yeah, but think of the education you got.
I did.
Yeah.
It is something that somebody should do it once in a while.
Yeah.
It is interesting.
Very
It is
interesting.
very interesting reading.
Okay, so let's put 20,000 in there and see what happens.
You can always take it back out,
That's right.
right?
Give us the magic number there, Nancy. Give us the magic number.
8160.201, refuse and garbage, equipment, or truck reserve?
Yeah, refuse equipment. You know,
Because if you, when you do a reserve, you have to earmark it towards
Mhm.
something,
We
or,
can't just say garbage truck reserve?
oh, we probably could, but we have to call it
Yeah.
what we're saving it for.
Right.
If you just
A
say
truck.
general equipment, like you did for the, what was that one, what other toy? Loader, or
See
the
me
other,
after. I thought it was so funny I took a picture of.
Nice guy.
All right,
What do you wanna call
A160.201
201.
garbage truck reserve.
it? Got it.
which may not be there for very long,
Right. It may not.
but let's see where we end up, right?
I'm just letting us all know what.
Well,
I know.
Yeah, I know, we haven't cut anything
What was it, 20,000?
overall,
No,
We may want to
the
change that
bottom
to
line is
10.
not, right.
not much different.
One thing we did was save the insurance
Yeah,
blackout, which was
Right.
good.
that made our whole day.
That was good.
Mm-hmm.
That was a
It
good
made my
one.
day,
Yeah,
but I was against it until I saw the numbers.
yeah.
Oh, save like $2,500 line, you could put that in.
Okay, now we gotta go to grade step.
Grade and stuff. I brought it up at the board meeting, said bring it up at the budget meeting. Here we are.
Can I interrupt? I'm sorry, I apologize. As I'm closing my book off. This
Okay.
TE fund here,
That's not budgetary, that's donated money.
trust funds, so it's just sitting there. How, is it ever gonna be used, or how does it get used, or for
It gets used for the pathway, and then there should be some
ECC building supplies?
primary care center.
16,000.
There's 16,000 left.
Well, that's the number it came.
It should be about, there's usually about 30-something thousand for fund balance, and that's, the 16,000 was the.
30, yeah,
I was just
35,
gonna say.
35,000.
Mhm. That's pathway money.
Mm-hmm.
The 16,000,
How can you tell which is which?
cause this says PCC and that says pathway.
But it only comes up to 16,000, we got 30-some thousand
No, because this is stuff that's being used.
expended in
Yes.
2018.
There's a lot of blacktop right out there that counts for that 16,000.
Yeah.
I was, I
Alright,
saw you. I'm like, no, I know where it is. It's sitting out there.
got it. Okay, sorry.
No. Because this is, if anybody knows anything about the grade and step scale, it's complicated. So, the county grade and step scale. We use 5 of these lines of their whole scale, from laborers to mechanics, being the highest. I have on that page, which is not right.
Mark's still here.
Lynn, or Chris, that is totally not right, just so you know. There's
Okay, no, he's doing
Minor.
fine.
mathematical errors in there.
Okay.
This is
10 minutes.
a computer generated version of that.
Okay, bye-bye.
Can we print it out?
I can print it out as it stands right here, but these numbers, I can blow it up. This is the current year, where we are right now, 2018, okay? This scale, same scale, 2% increase, which we're all talking about here. Start and pay, higher date, and then all the steps every 2 years, working across to somebody that's been here 24 years. Okay? This, we know that some got merit pay, some did not. 3, wait a minute. 5 people, there's what their merit pays are. I don't want to broadcast names and amounts. If you take the highest pay merit and plug that number into the grade and step scale, that's where it brings the starting pay and everything else for everybody. you are looking at a $6,111 difference on a 40-hour week for the year, annual.
Between the county and,
This new scale that I brought up that added in the highest grading step scale person. You know what it is, what I explained before in the board meeting. I took his number, backed it backwards, and then filled in all the blanks.
So you're saying in order to correct this grade and step scale,
To our own town of Lake Pleasant grading step that has
Right.
that merit pay, that tobacco figured into it,
and we get rid of it,
and we get rid of it,
it's gonna cost $6,111 a year.
correct, and everybody but one person will get a raise.
Right.
That one person that's already at the highest of that merit pay
Right.
will not be getting a raise for that, amount.
And then one of those people is retiring at the end of the year.
Correct.
So
Well,
did you take that into consideration?
that his number was not figured in there because I thought he was retiring in December, which he wouldn't be
No,
in the
I'm talking about a
2019.
different person, not a he.
That person's not in here either.
Okay.
These are the five. These are the five people that are,
did she get married?
yes, not as much as some, but in the middle.
That was one big popularity contest. It was awful.
Correct. Personal opinion.
Yep.
I can print this all out, email it out.
So I don't know if it's necessary to, because you're $3,000 less than what you thought it was gonna be back in March, so that's always good.
Right. That's why I said those numbers are off.
Mm-hmm.
This is something you wanna do for 19?
Well, that was my plan
Now, how,
because we haven't.
would this offset the cost of living?
No, this has nothing to do with the cost of living.
So the cost
That
of
number is in there. The cost of living, that $6,111,
You factored that in.
that's figured in.
Oh, so actually the cost to correct this problem is less than.
Because we're losing so many people that are
Right.
off of this merit pay. This is why I'm thinking that this is
You're
a,
doing something to that laptop.
Yeah. Crash.
this is why I'm
So this would be the best.
time for
The
this.
time.
We have the minimal amount, and everybody that is new is at the very bottom of the line.
Least impact.
So they get plugged in then on your grade and step schedule by their seniority. So like
Correct.
if
Say-
someone is, their anniversary date is January 1st, say, or.
There's what everybody's pay scale will be. There's what it is. I can't read upside down.
I
Sorry.
can't read from here.
Me
The-
either. And I'm trying, I'm squinting.
You have Malcolm's, what the raise will be,
Mhm.
his new hourly rate. And over here is what the county is and his new hourly rate. So he's gonna go up like 35 cents. No, there's that row right there of what the changes are for this scale. It's,
Have you factored in the additional costs? Social Security, Medicare?
no, that I don't have those numbers. This is strictly based on a 40-hour week, 20-hour many pay periods, 26 pay
And that's already put into
periods.
the budget
But
line
by
that
default,
you've
there's
given
extra
us?
stuff. I don't know
Yeah.
whether that's another 2%, 1.8%, by the time you figure retirement.
Oh, it's gonna be 10.
10?
I would think it's 10 anyway.
Oh, is that high?
Well, by the time you factor in, you got 765 just in Medi
Yeah,
and
So if you were
Social
to
Security.
say 10%,
thank you for that.
you're
And then
talking
once you throw
7,000
retirement on it.
that I'd have to put
Now,
into
they pay a lot of that too.
one of those
Right,
lines.
and
Mhm.
workers' comp.
And workers' comp's gonna have impact, but because if it's only 6,000, that won't be that big of a deal, workers' comp. But I would try to, I would think about factoring in 10% to that. So that's $600.
Oh, we can just wait till they all retire and then the problem goes away.
Correct.
You're gonna have a
You
long
are
wait for
looking
some.
at
Well, the
one,
one that's at the
two,
top of the, his
you-
wouldn't change anyway.
no, the one that's at the top.
His wouldn't change, so
And
then
he's not ready
Lynn's
to
gonna
retire. is he?
retire.
He's got a few years left.
Zeke's gonna retire next spring and Malcolm's gonna retire the year after, right?
Correct. So it's going to be 2 left. 3. The top one
Mm-hmm.
And all the bottom ones.
and bottom and middle, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So you can let it go, and
Does Matt
you
still,
originally started this last year there
I know.
in that thing. And
does Matt still go up $1.12 an hour under this?
no, Matt will go up 40 cents.
Okay.
Ed will go up 44 cents.
Whether he's the top.
Malcolm is 43 cents.
I think you want to try to tackle it this year.
I
Mhm.
think you just said
The economy's
35 cents
roaring.
for Malcolm.
That's the difference between county.
I agree with you. Bite the
Yeah.
bullet and be done with it.
Yeah.
And then,
Don't want to do it, but
right, forever on, going back to the original,
don't want to replace.
How do we do it?
If it leaks.
our pay scales, this Town of Lake Pleasant grade step scale will be a published item. Here it is, and when you change our 2%, or cost of living, whatever that is, you print that out and there's no, well, then you gotta add right now we're adding and subtracting so many numbers that it's
It's
ridiculous trying to
ridiculous.
figure this merit payout. Every time somebody goes through a step in the
You
grade.
should have seen me trying to explain it to Sean. Oh, my God.
And if at the annual meeting, you can come out with this and say, here is our grade and step scale. It is not the counties, it is not Arietta's, it is not Wells, it's the Town of Lake Pleasant.
Yep.
Was
Because
Roland
Arietta
on?
has their own,
Mhm.
Wells, I do believe, has their own.
And how are we in relation to the county with this? Are we still
We'll
way
be
below?
above,
We'll be above.
we'll be above.
Maybe we'll
Because-
hang on to people for.
I mean, it's not leaps and bounds,
Mhm.
that's that 35 cents that you were asking, is where we'll be above.
Okay.
I mean, it's pennies, but.
Well, I'd like to see it resolved. I don't know how everybody else feels, but,
Oh, I think so too.
I agree.
yeah.
I mean, obviously Mike's not here, but
Right.
he's.
Well, I
Well-
believe it's gonna be at the annual meeting, right? The adoption of that.
Yeah.
At the annual meeting?
That doesn't necessarily have to be.
The organizational meeting.
Organizational, I should say.
Well, wouldn't
Could
we?
do it anytime.
Yeah, wouldn't we do that when we adopt the budget? Wouldn't that be a good time to start it at the beginning of the year?
Probably,
Well, that's
probably
what I
would be
thought
time to
we-
start at the beginning of the year. yeah.
Right, the organizational meeting is the first meeting of the year. That's
But
when this
just-
all started. They needed a set
Listen.
scale to
Mhm.
take, and I said, well, we can't because, and that's when I started
There
explaining to
isn't
Chris, there isn't one.
No, but I mean, if we adopted this and then so that they can start with payroll at the beginning of the year.
Right.
Yeah, however it
And
has to be
then
done.
if, at the organizational meeting, just say
Okay,
following.
adopted to be effective January 1,
Right,
2019.
because otherwise it'll be
Yeah,
whenever the organizational meeting
if
is.
everybody agrees that,
So if this all goes through, then I would say the DB line, and I didn't add any increase in, would have to go up to absorb some of this, right?
how much was it up?
Well, it's gonna be with the 10%, $7,000.
About $7,000.
So be, 35 and 35.
Split it between DA and DB. I think A is the only one I don't know which one I added. 2%. One of them I did, but the rest I
Mark's in,
didn't.
right?
Down to 13 in your garbage truck fund now.
Exactly, I'm
No, I know,
trying to be,
I know. No, let's get these numbers out there, and then we can go back and,
right, it's,
It's better to get them in there so that when we have, when
right?
we see it and see what the bottom line says.
Yeah, I would say the next workshop meeting is gonna be,
ugly.
When
Yeah.
is that? Oh, you mean the
we haven't
public
scheduled
hearing?
it yet. Well, whenever you guys wanna, it's gotta be up to when Mark is able to get a preliminary budget out.
Well, you have to get that out by Monday, right? Next Monday?
Town board prepares preliminary budget, October 29th. She's gonna be sending out a notice of public hearing.
On the 25th.
Yeah, she did that she did that today, I think. So you would have to get that out to the town board by the 29th. And then we have a town board meeting on,
Nice.
DB, I put 2%.
a week
Tomorrow.
from,
All the
yeah,
rest I did not.
26th is Friday, Halloween
it's
party.
Monday.
Which DB is the summertime stuff.
Hmm?
DB I did not put, I put 2% in. The rest of them I either dropped or. So,
So what do you guys wanna do?
Go home. No, just kidding.
Yeah, so do I.
So,
Wow, look at what time it is.
you're gonna do a preliminary budget and then our.
The preliminary budget, I should be able to do
After the
it.
hearing, we can do further adjustments, is that? I'm getting too tired.
Did you wanna have a committee meeting prior to
preliminary.
the public hearing?
Oh, and I would definitely, after the
Mhm.
preliminary comes out, we should have a public, or like,
Well, once the
Yeah.
preliminary
So what-
comes out, we can't change it till after the public hearing, right?
It's true, right?
So
Right,
if-
but
Preliminary's fixed until after the hearing?
Right.
Probably, yeah.
So I guess our options are, Mark could update it and get something
so that we know what we're talking
this
about.
week,
Yeah,
and then we could have another meeting.
we can have another meeting and do notes and not necessarily change what, when we see what the bottom line is.
I don't know what the technical formal procedure is. I can make the changes, print it out, we can take a look at it, make some changes, and then call that the preliminary budget.
right.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
That's,
This will be a revised,
It's a work in
Now, whether we
progress.
can
Yeah.
get together as a
Well,
group, I don't know the legality of
But
that.
at some point, the public should be able to pick up
a
a
preliminary.
copy of that preliminary
But
budget.
we're saying we wanna
so-
see what this oh my god number is on
Before
our
that.
first, yeah, before it's publicized.
Well, Mark, what do you think the time frame is for you? I mean.
To make these corrections.
You got a lot of pieces to pull together there.
Yeah, and I have other issues going on for the next 3 days.
yeah,
It starts tomorrow.
oh, it does start tomorrow?
And I can only get in there when Kathy's not on.
Well, just let us know. I mean,
I will.
we gotta go with what we got
Today's only Monday, right?
Yeah,
so far.
It shouldn't take that.
We're getting close to Tuesday.
Huh?
We're getting close to Tuesday, but.
Sure are.
You got a while yet. Oh, I would
And
think by,
always Dancing with the Stars,
I
apparently.
would think by Thursday, because some of this Kathy has to go in and
She's
Yeah.
gonna have
she's
to
gotta
make
do
those
that, and I
lines.
don't,
Well, so you,
Can
Here,
she
Kathy.
do all the changes? So you don't
in
have
theory. Oh, can she key the changes? Well, she could, but keying this stuff is no problem.
Okay.
That's not much work.
Adding the lines
It's the adding the lines.
is a
Okay,
process,
so- I don't, I got my calendar out, so. Well,
you get 3
For-
days.
for us to get
treatment
together-
start. When?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Can Kathy be doing what she can do while you're,
She can add the lines.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, I can go and see her tomorrow, or go in first thing in the morning, wait till
Yeah,
she comes in.
she's usually there
Cause
at
I don't have
8:30.
to leave until about 10:30 tomorrow,
she's usually there by about 8:30,
About 8:30 she comes in.
normally.
yeah.
I'll set her up to do some of that, see.
All right, I'll stay in touch with Mark and I'll let everybody else know how we're doing.
Well,
Yes, yeah.
the 29th is Monday.
Mhm.
I have a commitment for the 29th. That's just me.
We'd have to do it before then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When do you leave?
Because that's when the
I'm not,
preliminary has
because
to be done.
Val's sick.
Oh, no kidding.
I had him back in the hospital again.
There isn't much
Took
time
him down
between.
Friday.
Oh,
Brought him
goodness.
home yesterday, but that took care of my Connecticut trip, so.
Well, then,
Thursday,
preliminary.
Friday.
Friday, I mean, you got 3 days that you're not.
Well, I'm available, yeah. Everything but 7 hours.
I'm available any day because I cleared my calendar for my trip, so.
Friday night, we have the Lions Club.
Halloween party. Well, I had no, there's nothing I can do over there other than sit and watch.
I can get out of that, you know,
Well, like Dan said, he'll let us know.
we need to,
Unless you
Well,
want
the
to
thing
do
is, if I can make it, I make it. If I can't, I can't. I mean, that's.
Next Monday isn't a town board meeting, it's that third week.
you want to do a Saturday morning or something?
Fine with me.
that would work for me also.
Possibly.
I'll take that as a no.
Possibly.
All right, we'll see what we can do as fast as possible. See where we are in a couple days. Okay?
Okay,
Is Sanders coming down there?
Hmm?
I mean,
Thought I heard a door.
there's gonna have to be some hard decisions made, but I don't think there's many places that they can be made. That's, might be quicker than, it might be ugly, but relatively quick.
Yeah, it's gonna be chop, 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 chop.
I know you wanna keep it at 0%, but I think keeping it at the tax cap, which is the cost of living, just to me makes so much more sense than keeping it at 0, because it just gets worse every year when you keep it at 0.
We'll come back and get you.
And that's what's happening, it's coming back to get
We're
it.
there.
Yeah. 'Cause
went up 4% last year.
Hi, Gary.
Did you just
Did
come
we-
back,
did
or
we
were
wake
you
you up?
I just
sleeping?
checked
No, I was just seeing
Battery
if the
dead?
computer was still on.
your cheat sheets
Well, I
for
couldn't
the
tell you that.
DA here.